I share a rental with 10 stunning beauties. Chapter 1, Traveling to 2012, I have 10 beautiful tenants. In Kyoto, near Jing'in, at a small, rundown restaurant named Kailai Xiang roughly delicious aroma, Ma-hu sat bored at the bar, watching two youthful and attractive girls in cotton t-shirts and light blue jeans, busy preparing tableware. He still felt as if he were dreaming. However, as a seasoned reader of various time travel and system novels for over 20 years, he quickly accepted the reality of his current situation. He had been nearly 40 years old in his previous life, having worked in finance and real estate before finally becoming an IT worker who experienced a midlife crisis. Due to a year-long unemployment period in 2024, he had worked in 3 booming industries but had no savings, living a thoroughly unsuccessful life. His family was in disarray, and he drowned his sorrows in alcohol, which eventually led to alcohol poisoning and his reincarnation in the body of the original owner. On the bright side, this seemed like a second chance, allowing him to correct the regrets of his previous life. Although the environment of the original owner's life was slightly different from his own, the main storyline was essentially the same. He could rely on his past life's memories to lie down early and live a carefree life. Moreover, the original owner was also someone who was content with a small fortune, living a life of ease with a modest amount of assets. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had the audacity to open a 60-square-meter restaurant just 1 year after graduation, instead of seeking a job. What's more, the 5-story self-built building that housed the small restaurant was an inheritance from the original owner's parents. He also had over 5 million yuan in savings. In 2012, owning such a building, nearly 1,000 square meters in total area, in land-scarce Kyoto, along with legal documentation, would be of inestimable value. This showed that the original owner's parents were very capable people, otherwise, they wouldn't have left behind such a family fortune. After graduation, the original owner converted the first floor into a small restaurant as his livelihood and rented out the remaining 90 square meters on the first floor as a supermarket. He lived on the second floor, while the remaining 3 floors were all rented out for profit. The self-built house was located in a prime spot, and only the second floor was designed in a conventional family layout. Each floor above the second was divided into 3 one-bedroom apartments of around 40 square meters, each with a living room, bedroom, and washroom. Apart from not being able to cook, these were ideal rental units for tenants. Behind the building was a 300-square-meter yard, perfect for parking or having barbecues in the summer, but the original owner had never utilized it. Considering the savings left by his parents and the revenue from the small restaurant, the supermarket on the first floor, and the 9 rental units on floors 3 to 5, the original owner was making around 40,000 yuan a month. Not to mention the several thousand yuan in profits from the restaurant. In this life, he wouldn't have to work himself to the bone like in his previous life, no more 996 working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Life would be much easier. Just yesterday, Ma-hu had used all his savings to purchase 100,000 bitcoins. As someone who had worked in finance before his reincarnation, Ma-hu was very familiar with the value of Bitcoin. After all, when he traveled to this world, the price had already reached 100,000 US dollars per coin. Now, being able to buy them at just a few hundred yuan per coin, he knew he had secured a massive fortune. This would be his best insurance for lying down and living an easy life. But now, thinking about his bank account balance, which had only just reached 5 figures, Ma-hu still felt a sense of urgency. Bitcoin needed to be held long-term. He wouldn't sell it unless there was a special situation, and he might even continue buying more. After all, the price was now ridiculously cheap, like buying cabbage. Of course, there were many other wealth opportunities, but Ma-hu didn't want to exhaust himself. What he urgently needed now was to quickly increase his savings, as he had many important life events to prepare for in the future. With this thought in mind, Ma-hu glanced again at the 2 youthful figures in the restaurant. His heart burned with desire. These 2 beautiful students from Jing'in were also his tenants. During the summer break, they stayed in Kyoto, waiting for opportunities while helping Ma-hu with cleaning in exchange for reduced rent. The slightly unusual part was that these 2 students weren't just anyone, they were Jiu Li and Di Li, 2 of the 3 beauties from the border region. Di Li, in Ma-hu's original world, should have been a student from Shanghai Drama School, but in this life, she was at Jing'in instead. Ma-hu could almost understand why his other tenants were similar in this new world. Perhaps it was the butterfly effect caused by his reincarnation, or maybe this world was a parallel universe to his previous one, making these changes understandable. According to the memories of the original owner, Ma-hu's tenants also included Kinkei, a domineering female executive Shenmeiru, a rising star in the legal field Lin Ruyi, a sexy Dr. Yu Feihong, a well-known beauty teacher from Jing'in and Tong Wei, Jiang Shuying, Zhong Shuang, and Jin Chen, all young women from various backgrounds, including some well-known actresses and students from other fields. Except for Kinkei, Shenmeiru, and Linrui, all of the others were familiar names from the entertainment world, though their personal experiences and ages were somewhat different from his original world. Mahu didn't mind, though. After all, as long as the women were beautiful, he was content. Furthermore, some of them were much younger than in his previous life, which was actually a better match for his own age. These days, Mahu had been calling out for the must-have tool of any time traveler, the system. However, nothing had happened yet. The only changes he noticed were improvements in his memory, smell, and taste. His memories from his previous life were incredibly vivid, from shows he watched to songs he heard. His sense of smell and taste had also improved, which was reflected in his cooking skills. Jiu Li and Di Li, who had been helping him in the restaurant, remarked that his cooking was far better than it had been before. Other than that, Mahu hadn't noticed any significant changes. After all, the original owner was a former sports student from Beijing Sport University, so his physical condition was already quite good. In these few days, Mahu had been spending most of his time getting familiar with the original owner's memories and the current environment. Of course, the beautiful women around him were also busy with their own things, but the two girls who helped him most were Jiu Li and Di Li. These beautiful women were truly a treat for the eyes, and Mahu's standards for beauty had definitely risen. He also couldn't help but secretly lament how the original owner had wasted such opportunities. He had so many beautiful women around him but never treasured them, and now he was still single. But that was his gain now. After all, near water, the platform gets the moon first. He didn't have to worry about life, so he decided to enjoy his time living with these beautiful women. Of course, the most important task now was to quickly increase his bank balance. Otherwise, even if he spent time with these beauties, he wouldn't have the confidence to enjoy it. Living off women wasn't his life philosophy. Chapter 2, is the unconventional marriage system a benefit or hell for men? It was early August now, and soon the small restaurant that Mahu ran would be getting busy again. He planned to use this time to prepare for his upcoming wealth-building plans. Of course, it wouldn't be anything too strenuous after all. The best way forward was to profit from the hugely popular variety shows and scripts that existed in his memory. As for writing novels, well, not only were many of the trending novels already in circulation, but even if they weren't, Mahu felt it wouldn't be worth the effort. Writing novels was undeniably a hard and grueling job. Mahu immediately set to work, firing up his computer and searching for the popular variety shows from his previous life, to see if any of them had already started filming or airing. He wanted to avoid any embarrassing mistakes or copyright issues. First up, he searched for the South Korean variety show Running Man, which had already been filmed as a single-unit episode in 2010. However, after a quick search, Mahu couldn't find any trace of the show. This gave him a boost of excitement. Then, he searched for The Voice of China, Extreme Challenge, I Am a Singer, The Traveler's Club, Chinese Restaurant, and even Where Is Father Going? The results were promising. He couldn't find any information on these shows online, which meant he could create his own versions, apply for copyrights, and then relax. Just as Mahu was feeling pleased with himself, Jiu Li and Di Li, the two beautiful women, had finished preparing for the opening and were now waiting for customers. They had both gathered around Mahu, watching him continue his online searches. Since their rooms didn't have kitchens, the two women usually cooked in the kitchen on the second floor or at the restaurant on the first floor. As such, they were quite familiar with Mahu. They were all around the same age, and even Kinkei, the oldest among the tenants, was only 4 or 5 years older than Mahu, so he treated everyone like family. Not to mention, Jiu Li and Di Li often helped out in the restaurant, so they were especially close. Curious, the two women peeked at the screen. Di Li asked, "Ma Ji, are you searching for variety shows?" "Yeah, I've got a few ideas and concepts I'm thinking of. Just checking to make sure they don't overlap with other shows. Otherwise, I'd be wasting my time and possibly infringing on copyrights." Jiu Li asked, "Ma Ji, are you planning to enter the entertainment industry?" "Not really. I'm just looking to make some quick cash. My ideal life is to do as little as possible, so I'm not about to overwork myself." Jiu Li frowned. "You're always discouraging us. If you want to take it easy, you could do so now. Don't think we don't know your income. Just the rent from us alone is enough for you to live like a high-level executive. You've even got this restaurant, and we're helping you out by working here. It's just too much." Mahu smiled and said, "Don't you two understand the purpose of this restaurant?" Seeing the confused looks on their faces, Mahu couldn't help but give each of them a light flick on the forehead. "I'm doing it to take care of you two. If I don't give you something to do, how else can I reduce your rent?" Otherwise, you might start thinking I have other motives. Ji Li blinked and said, don't you have ulterior motives? After all, the people living here are all beautiful women. I've never seen any male tenants. Are you planning to create a harem? Our classmates say this place is like the Spider Cave in Journey to the West or the Kingdom of Women. Ji Li and Di Li exchanged puzzled glances. Ma Hu could only rub his forehead in exasperation, unsure how to respond. But in reality, as Ji Li had pointed out, he was the only male in the building. Seeing Ma Hu's awkward expression, Ji Li and Di Li burst into laughter. Di Li teased, what's going on with you, Ma Ji? Did Ji Li guess correctly? Ma Hu could only mutter to himself, what's there to guess? It's all the original owner's doing. These beautiful women were all brought in by him, just so they'd be pleasant to the eyes. I have to admit, the original owner's taste is still on point. All right, enough of this nonsense. If it really were true, I'd be in trouble. Don't you know about bigamy laws? We've got a big-time lawyer among us. I'm not about to end up eating free public food. Ji Li and Di Li froze for a moment after hearing this explanation. Then Ji Li asked in disbelief, Ma Ji, are you sure we have bigamy laws in China? Di Li added, Ma Ji, you're not yourself these days. First, the food you've been making tastes a lot better, and now you're saying we have bigamy laws. Did an alien possess you or something? Ma Hu was left dumbfounded and stood there, trying to recall the original owner's memories. He couldn't find anything about bigamy, only that his parents were deeply in love, and his father had never been unfaithful or suggested marrying a concubine. Seeing the two women's mischievous grins, Ma Hu quickly searched online. To his surprise, he discovered that this world didn't actually have a bigamy law. However, it was still necessary to pay a heavy price for taking on multiple wives. In this world, the law allowed women to file for divorce, taking all of their dowries, bridal gifts, and even a marriage guarantee fund, a deposit that guaranteed the man could support his wife and children. This system, designed in a world with a gender imbalance, was intended to protect women's rights. However, this also meant that men had to consider their financial ability before marrying. The first wife didn't need to pay a guarantee fund, but if a man divorced, the wife could take half of his assets. If a man wanted to marry a second wife, he needed the first wife's consent and had to pay an additional 5 million yuan as a marriage guarantee. This system elevated the status of women, and many men, whether rich or poor, were hesitant to take on multiple wives. Even men who weren't married didn't necessarily want to marry multiple women, as the legal system gave women the final say in maintaining or ending the marriage. Ma Hu felt a sense of relief after learning about this. At least in his original world, there wasn't such a policy, or else he might have died from poverty instead of alcohol poisoning. Of course, whether this system was a benefit or hell for men was still a matter of perspective. After understanding this, Ma Hu turned to the two women. I say, you two should stop having any delusions about your Ma Ji. Though I'm handsome and charming, you should know that right now, I'm just a broke guy with no money. I can't afford to marry either of you. Chapter 3, To lie flat, you need money. When the two women, Guli and Dilly, heard this, they exchanged amused glances. Guli said, bro, you're really full of yourself, you know. Dilly and I have plenty of people chasing us at school. Dilly jokingly added, yeah, bro, we're giving you a chance here. Don't blow it, or you'll regret it later. Seeing the two teasing him, Ma Hu felt a little awkward. In both this life and his past one, he was over 60 years old. When had he ever been teased like this? Just when he didn't know how to respond, a customer entered the restaurant. All right, you two wait and see. There's a lot to come for you. Watch how I conquer you. With that, Ma Hu said something bold and prepared to head into the kitchen. Guli and Dilly, seeing the new customer, went to work taking orders and handling payments. They worked well together, and since they weren't new at this, everything ran smoothly. The restaurant wasn't very big, so it could only seat a bit under 20 people at full capacity. Having just Ma Hu in the kitchen was enough. Usually, when Guli and Dilly were busy, the original owner could handle things on his own, though it was a bit more exhausting. Since Ma Hu only served dine-in customers, the workload was lighter compared to handling delivery. For example, today during lunch, only about 10 people came in, and with just 30-some dishes to prepare, it was easy work. Just as Ma Hu was getting ready to close up for the day, Yu Hongfei arrived with a few people. Bro, do you still have food? We haven't eaten yet. Can you make us a few more dishes? Ma Hu wasn't sure how the original owner had gotten along with Yu Hongfei and her older friends, but these people all liked to call him bro. Was it because the original owner often burned the food? When Ma Hu saw Yu Hongfei dressed in a white business suit and black high-heeled sandals, his heart flooded. Sis, I told you yesterday, don't call me bro, you're practically mocking me as a chef with that. Or do you want me to burn the pot again? Yu Hongfei and her companions laughed heartily, and Guli added fuel to the fire. Isn't sis a perfect way to describe you, Ma Hu? If you didn't always burn the pot when we tested your food, would they have called you sis? Then why don't you and Dilly call me Hu Ji, a famous Chinese actor? I'm not any worse than him, right? Stop flattering yourself. You're nothing compared to him. Ma Hu didn't bother responding to Guli's jab. Instead, he turned to Yu Hongfei and the others and asked, Sis, Teacher Huang, Teacher He, what would you like to eat? We've got plenty of ingredients. Yu Hongfei, after consulting with Huang Lei and He Ling, spoke up, let us have sweet and sour carp, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, mushu pork, and Westlake beef soup. Ma Hu glanced at Guli and Dilly and asked, are you guys discussing business? If it's convenient, I'll make a few more dishes. We can sit and eat together. After all, we haven't eaten yet. This meal is on me. Before Yu Hongfei and Huang Lei could respond, He Ling jumped in, it's fine. Let us eat together. We're just having a meal to catch up. There's no need for you to treat us. Huang Lei is here, so he'll treat us. Ma Hu nodded and went to the kitchen to prepare the dishes. He worked quickly, preparing 8 dishes and 1 soup. In addition to what they had ordered, he added a stir-fried pork dish, fish-flavored shredded pork, stir-fried vegetables, and a lotus root soup with ribs that had been simmering since earlier. Once everyone was seated, it was almost 2 p.m. As they ate and chatted, Ma Hu suddenly remembered some of the ideas he had thought about in the morning. Now, he had the perfect opportunity to ask someone for help. He decided not to hesitate, thinking that he could always return the favor later. He Ling, do you know anyone in South Korea? I have a favor to ask. He Ling was surprised, and Yu Hongfei asked, Ma Hu, are you planning to go to South Korea? Ma Hu explained, no, I had a few program ideas this morning. I searched for similar shows in China, and I didn't find anything that matches, but just to be safe, I want to check if there are any similar programs in South Korea. If there are, I can avoid repeating the idea. What? You have ideas for variety shows? He Ling said, impressed. All right, tell me more. I can help you contact people in South Korea. Ma Hu didn't hold back and shared the concepts for the Voice of China and Running Brothers. These were the 2 ideas that seemed the least certain, so he started with them. Yu Hongfei, Huang Lei, and He Ling were all stunned. Both from a professional and personal perspective, they thought the ideas were fantastic. They were so surprised that they paused eating, leaving the dishes to cool down, and even caused Guli and Dilly to stop halfway through their meal. Yu Hongfei looked at Ma Hu, astonished, bro, these are your ideas. I thought you were just a simple guy who's good with his hands, but you actually came up with such great concepts. Ma Hu rolled his eyes. My dear sis, you're slandering me. Just because you're so beautiful doesn't mean you're not smart, right? Before he could finish, Yu Hongfei, in a playful move, gave his ear a sharp twist. Look at you. You've gotten bolder lately, even teasing me. I'm starting to think you've been possessed by aliens. You're cooking better, and you're not the same as before. Yeah, I thought the same thing earlier this morning, but this guy just won't admit it, Guli added with a teasing grin. Ma Hu could only beg for mercy, but Huang Lei stared at him for a long time before speaking. Both of these ideas are great, and your image works too. If you had professional training, you could debut directly. Are you considering entering the entertainment industry? Teacher Huang, you flatter me. I'm just short on cash lately. I thought I'd make some money. Besides, this industry is tough. Who knows if these 2 girls, with their backgrounds, will even make it? Let alone me, a former sports guy. So, what did you major in at Beijing Sport University? I practiced Sunda Chinese kickboxing at first, then I studied traditional martial arts in college. Well, you can always get into stunt work. You have the foundation. No way. My dream is to lie flat. I don't want to work too hard. What about these 2 ideas? Of course, I'll sell them for money. Yu Hongfei gave Ma Hu a disapproving look. It seemed like the restaurant's business hours would need to be extended tonight, or else she'd be lecturing him again. Meanwhile, He Ling, who had stepped aside to make a call, returned and confirmed that Ma Hu's ideas were unique. This made Ma Hu very excited. After warming up the dishes, he let everyone continue eating while he worked on writing up the proposals. After all, these ideas had to be submitted quickly. Once the copyrights were secured, they could start generating profits. Luckily, in this world, the copyright and patent protection systems were very well established. As Ma Hu typed away, outputting his ideas, Yu Hongfei kept glancing at him with admiration. Not long after, Huang Lei and He Ling left, and as usual, Ma Hu didn't charge them for the meal. With nothing else to do in the afternoon, Yu Hongfei, Guli, and Dilly tidied up the restaurant and prepared for the evening's business. They sat and chatted, drinking water and watching TV. Eventually, Yu Hongfei came over to Ma Hu and watched as he typed away on his computer, working on his variety show proposal. Her gaze softened and she thought to herself, I didn't expect this young guy to have such talent. But then, remembering what he said about wanting to lie flat, a wave of frustration washed over her. In her mind, she was determined to teach him a lesson. How could a young person like him think about lying down and being lazy? But as she watched Ma Hu, fingers flying across the keyboard, she knew she had to calm down. She would find it time to have a serious conversation with him. After all, with ideas like these, he was definitely not a simpleton. He was a gem just in need of proper guidance. Chapter 4: Women Who Joined the Game. In the evening, Ma Hu, who was working hard to output, had to go to the kitchen to prepare to cook, so he had to give up his work. At the same time, he also decided that the restaurant was going to close. After all, how can you make money from a restaurant faster than from a variety show script? Although cooking is a kind of pleasure for me, it is not worth it to spend my time in a small restaurant every day. It is better to grow flowers, fish, and walk the dog with this time. Of course, he did not intend to waste the restaurant. He had already planned to transform it into a private restaurant and tea house in the future, and the employees would use it for their own entertainment and entertaining. However, the two little beauties Guli and Dilly probably lost the opportunity to meet and rent the room, but I can think of other ways to give the two little beauties some water later. The number of people for dinner was a little too many, and they were busy from about 6 o'clock to 9:30. When all the guests left, Ma Hu found that Yu Feihong was still there. It was estimated that he was going to teach him a lesson. Ma Hu cooked a few more dishes and sent a message to the tenant group to see if any of his beautiful tenants could come over for a meal. After all, eating alone or in a group is also a matter of eating. They are all women and they can't eat much. When everyone gathered, only Qin Kei and Shen Meiru actually came. Jin Chen went home after the holiday, Tong Wei and the other two also went to the crew, and the beautiful Dr. Lin Rudy was on night shift today. So the 5 beauties and Ma Hu finally had this meal together. Just as Ma Hu thought, he ate more than half of the 4 dishes and 1 soup, and the rest was eaten by the 5 women. Of course, Yu Feihong hesitated to speak several times at the dinner table, and Ma Hu just pretended not to see it. Instead, he talked a lot with Shen Meiru. Of course, the main thing was to ask Shen Meiru to help him with the copyright registration process for his variety show. After all, there was a lawyer, and they were more familiar with handling such things. Ma Hu's variety show creativity surprised Qin Kei and Shen Meiru. After all, in their eyes, Ma Hu was just going to rely on this small restaurant to eat and wait for death. I didn't expect that today would give me such a big surprise. Men with ambitions are often very attractive, so I was quite happy about Ma Hu's transformation. However, when the witch learned that Ma Hu was going to close the restaurant, she was stunned. The most disappointed were Guli and Dilly. After all, this way they would not be able to legitimately reduce rent and eat. However, the first one to get restless was Yu Feihong, who was the same age as Qin Kei and was also a teacher. She was quite dissatisfied with Ma Hu's decision. After all, when she had a restaurant, at least she had something to do. If the restaurant is closed and you are not going to enter the entertainment industry, then you are just eating and waiting to die, right? Brother Hu, you are not going to enter the entertainment industry, and the restaurant is also going to close. Are you really going to lie down in the future? Ji Li also immediately followed up and said, yes, in this way, Di Li and I have no excuse to take advantage of you. It would have been better if Ji Li didn't say anything. As soon as she said it, Ma Hu's face turned red. I say, beautiful girl, can you make it clear, how are you and Di Li going to take advantage of me? I provided you with jobs and rent reduction before, but it didn't work. Or are you two really greedy for my body? Ma Hu's interruption immediately caused a burst of laughter. Ji Li lowered her head in embarrassment. After everyone laughed, Teacher Feihong, who is worthy of being a teacher, directly led the conversation back to the point. How old are you? You are ready to lie down like this. Isn't that a waste of time? We also know that you are not short of money and have a rich life, but this does not mean that you can live a carefree life and waste your time. Qin Kei couldn't stand it anymore and said, yes, brother, although your starting point is higher than ours, it is not a long-term plan for you to lie down now. Everyone knows what the future will be like. Besides, you are still single now. How can you start a family in the future? The intellectual beauty lawyer Shen Meiru turned into a charming and sexy little goblin and said with the clipped voice that could not be clamped anymore, "Brother, how can you support your sister in the future? Sister wants to wait until you become rich in the future to be your private lawyer." Ma Hu, who was covered with goosebumps by Shen Meiru's clipped voice, was speechless. It seems that the original owner is really good to them, otherwise she would not have advised Ma Hu one by one. Get married. Isn't it enough to have money? Besides, who said I don't have a career? I usually grow flowers and fish and collect rent from you at a certain time. What a good job, it is simply the perfect job that workers dream of. Also, Sister Meiru, please put away your clip sound that makes people want to commit crimes. Otherwise, be careful that I will find for hire to capture you, the evildoer. Di Li said with a blushing face, Brother Ma will not have a restaurant in the future, so I have no reason to reduce the rent, and I can't eat for free. More importantly, how can you marry these fairies in your Pansy cave? Are we so unattractive? Isn't it worth Brother Ma's efforts for us? Di Li's bold words stunned everyone on the spot, and 5 pairs of eyes looked at Di Li. What kind of tiger and wolf words are these? Can you still persuade like this? It is a good thing to persuade people to be kind, but you can't cut meat to feed the tiger. The first person to react was Shen Meiru. Okay, Stinky Who brother, no wonder you take care of us so much, it turns out you really have ideas for us, right? But with your current economic level, it's impossible to realize this idea, you still want to lie down like this. You are really hopeless. At this time, Yu Feihong said embarrassedly, yes, I have no objection to brother having this idea, but you have to be capable. You can't achieve your idea just by relying on your building and your 3 second-hand cars, right? Ma Hu was stunned when he heard this and then whispered, it seems that what you said is true. Can I really realize this idea if I have money? Don't think I'm young and you're going to fool me. Qin Kei frowned after hearing this, I can't represent others in this regard, I can only represent myself. If you can really get them to agree with your idea, then I have no problem. But there is a prerequisite that you need to save enough betrothal gifts and marriage deposits for us. After Qin Kei finished speaking, he looked at the other 4 girls. Yu Feihong also made up his mind and said, I have no problem, but the betrothal gift must be set at a certain amount, at least tens of millions of dollars. It's not that we worship money, but you have to prove your strength. I believe that the betrothal gift should not be a problem for men who can go to both of us. Shen Meiru thought for a while and said, should we set a time? Otherwise, we can't wait for him all the time. This guy is several years younger than us. If he really lies down, do we really have to wait for him all the time? Dilly and Guli nodded in approval of Shen Meiru's plan. After Shen Meiru got the support, she looked at Ma Hu, little brother, are you happy? If it weren't for your honesty, you wouldn't have such an opportunity. Sisters and sisters are ready to sacrifice themselves for you. Ma Hu was indeed as Shen Meiru said at this time. He was already happy. After all, according to his memory, the value of Bitcoin in his hands next year would reach hundreds of millions of Hui Yuan. This is a woman's request. It's so easy. Looking at the silent Ma Hu, Shen Meiru was very proud and even sent the message to the group to solicit the opinions of the other women. For Ma Hu, who usually takes care of them, the women still want him to do something and not give up struggling at such a young age. They have no objection to this. Zhong Shuang even said that if Ma Hu can't do it, he should be punished. He can't just say he can't do it. In this way, Ma Hu may still lie down without fear. Shen Meiru thought about it and realized that it was true. He couldn't say there was no punishment, otherwise it wouldn't have any effect. Everyone made the decision just to prevent Ma Hu from giving up. How could they leave a loophole for Ma Hu? So everyone said something and finalized the matter. Even Lin Rui, who was on duty inspecting the ward, made a few suggestions. If Ma Hu can meet the conditions proposed by the women, he will be a dragon among men. Besides, Ma Hu's appearance is really pleasing to women. With a height of 1.85 meters, he looks thin when dressed and his muscular body when undressed. In the eyes of women, he is a perfect little milk dog. According to their requirements, Ma Hu needs to prepare 20 million yuan of betrothal gifts and 5 million yuan of marriage deposit for each person, and also prepare a luxury villa with a large enough area and a swimming pool that covers an area of no less than 1 acre. In this way, the betrothal gifts and marriage deposits will require 300 million yuan, plus a villa. The agreed time limit is not very long. Everything should be prepared by the time Guli, who is about to graduate from her sophomore year, graduates from university. That is less than 3 years. Of course, the punishment for failure to complete the task is that Mahu is not allowed to lie down. If Mahu dares to lie down, the entire self-built house will be assigned to the women. In 3 years, it is required to earn 300 million yuan and a large villa. Even if Mahu's starting point is relatively high, it is impossible for the women to achieve it. After all, Yu Feihong also took Mahu's variety show creativity into consideration during this period. It is to prevent Mahu from completing the task too easily that the betrothal gift was changed to 20 million yuan. In 2012, when a person with a monthly income of 10,000 yuan is considered a white-collar worker, it is really not easy to complete such a task. After all, it is close to 4 small goals. How can it be so easy to earn? This is also the real thought of the women. It is worthwhile to use their 3 years to save the growth of a young man who is about to become a misbegotten youth. After all, this person has been taking care of everyone for more than a year. Only Mahu knows that if everything goes well, maybe by the end of next year, he will be able to get so much money. Of course, the premise is that he needs to buy more. His goal is to hold it for a long time and wait for the peak in his memory. Chapter 5 Gambling Agreement with a Beauty. Are these the conditions? If you have any, feel free to ask. You look arrogant, brat. Shen Meiru said with her fists clenched. I'm not arrogant, I'm confident. In 3 years, let alone the betrothal gifts and marriage deposits of 10 of you, I can earn even if there are 10 more people. It's not that I don't want to work hard, but I feel that these are too easy. Qin Kei, you're still arrogant, aren't you? Do you feel that our betrothal gifts are going to be less? Sisters and sisters, I'm not bragging, how about I give you a betrothal gift of 50 million each? Mahu said proudly. Although this amount is indeed a bit stressful, it is not impossible. As long as the trend of Bitcoin does not change, I will definitely be able to raise the required 600 million or even 1 billion. Yu Feihong and the other girls were full of disbelief when they heard this. Qin Kei even said, on behalf of my sisters, if you can really give everyone a dowry of 50 million in 3 years, then we agree that you can marry as many as you want. The women nodded in agreement after hearing this. After all, they didn't believe that Mahu could do this. After all, the dowry alone for 10 people was 500 million, plus a villa worth 100 million yuan and a marriage deposit of nearly 100 million yuan. The total amount reached 700 million yuan. 3 years is equivalent to making more than 200 million yuan in profit every year. You know, the annual profit of a listed company may not be so much. Finally, Mahu and the 10 women reached an agreement and even added a clause at the end that the property could not be mortgaged. After all, the self-built house owned by Mahu alone could be worth at least 10 million yuan. Beautiful ladies, you have to believe me and believe in your vision. Our agreement is not a problem for me at all, so wait for me to propose. After saying that, Mahu sniffed and turned back. After all, his variety show plan has not been completed yet. With such a big bet, he had to work hard. So he planned to work late into the night and try to get Run, Brothers, and The Voice of China out within 2 weeks. He tried to sell them by the end of October so that he would have money to continue buying bitcoins. If he could buy 100,000 bitcoins, he might be able to collect the agreed wealth by the end of next year and earn enough money to buy back bitcoins. You should know that the price of Bitcoin reached more than $700 at the end of 2013 and the beginning of 2014. 200,000 bitcoins would be $140 million. According to the exchange rate at that time, he would have nearly 1 billion yuan. Then he would buy some more in 2015 when the price was $300 or $400. At that time, he would be able to hold on until the peak in his memory. Looking at Mahu, who left with a smug look on his face, Qin Kei and Yu Feihong seemed to have overlooked something. Until Dilly said, Teacher Yu, did we overlook something? Guli, did we only think he had 2 variety show ideas at the beginning? Dilly, it's over, we fell into the trap set by Brother Ma. Qin Kei, Yu Feihong, what's wrong? Is there something we don't know? Guli, in the morning, when Brother Ma was searching for information at night, it seemed that there were more than 2 variety show ideas. I remember he looked up 7 or 8 names. Qin Kei and Yu Feihong looked at each other with their beautiful eyes. I didn't expect that this brat still had a trick up his sleeve. But it's also very difficult to make so much money in 3 years, right? Anyway, the matter has been decided. As for whether the decision made by several people is right or wrong, they really can't judge for the time being. In fact, the women also have the answer in their minds. After all, they have been with the original owner for about a year and are still optimistic about Mahu. If Mahu can do what he said, he is still qualified as a marriage partner. You should know that those who can do this are either quite old or rich second generation. Besides, Ma Hu's character is also good, so if Ma Hu can do it, it means that Ma Hu's ability is also top-notch. What they don't know is that the current Ma Hu is Ma Hu who traveled through time and space. If he wants to achieve something, as long as some of the historical main lines remain unchanged, it is simply easy for Ma Hu. After Ma Hu returned to his own self, he calmed down in this shocking joy. After all, in his opinion, he now needs a red heart and 2 hands to prepare. After all, eggs can't be put in one basket. It's just that the eggs in this basket are not full yet, so there is no time to take care of the other basket for the time being. In the next 2 weeks, every day, Chulu and Dilly helped Ma Hu buy meals and sent them to the room. Occasionally, on weekends, Kin Kei and Yu Feihong would prepare meals on the 2nd floor and call Ma Hu to eat together. In mid-August, Beijing Film Academy is about to start school, and new students have begun to prepare to report to school. Ma Hu finally came out of seclusion. During this 2-week seclusion, Ma Hu prepared 4 variety show plans. There are Run, Brothers, The Voice of China, Traveling Young Flowers, and A Longing for Pastoral Life. It can be said that any of these 4 programs are of the type of hits. As for the planning cases of Challenging the Limit, I Am a Big Singer, Masked Singer, and Where Are We Going, Dad, Ma Hu plans to complete them before the National Day in October. Yes, the National Day of China in this time and space is also on the 1st day of October. When Ma Hu handed the planning case to Shen Meiru and asked her to find someone to help him register the global copyright, Shen Meiru was shocked. Yu Feihong, Kin Kei and others were also shocked in their hearts and at the same time believed in their own judgment. The person in front of them is definitely a great potential stock. Even if the gambling agreement cannot be completed in the end, it is not impossible to be together. And Dilly and Guli looked at Ma Hu eagerly. Even if the 2 of them did not speak, Ma Hu could understand what they meant. Obviously, they wanted the opportunities in these variety shows. Ma Hu just told them not to worry and that he would always arrange it for them. Since he is so familiar with these girls, they are also his own people. If he doesn't give these good resources to his own people, should he give them to others? However, the allocation of resources here should be carefully considered. After all, appearing on variety shows too much may have some impact on his acting career. Before the copyright is registered, Ma Hu is not going to start selling, so Ma Hu is still having a hard time during this period. Who made him pretend to be cool and exempted the rent of 10 girls for 3 years? Now his income is only the rent of more than 10,000 yuan for the supermarket on the ground floor. More importantly, this month is not the date for siblings. He has to wait until the end of September or the beginning of October. So Ma Hu can't spend freely at this time. After all, these plans only charge for registering copyrights. However, fortunately, Ma Hu has always worked hard and the girls will not let him go hungry. Therefore, Ma Hu has been a gigolo in the recent period. Because of the taxi with the 4 planning proposals, Ma Hu is also quite relaxed later. Because of the agreement, the relationship between Ma Hu and the girls has become clear. No need to admire the beauties secretly, now he can watch them openly and at the same time he can tease Guli and Dilly from time to time. After all, Ma Hu has the courage to tease only these 2 now. Jin Chen and Tong Wei have not come back yet, so he can only try his hand with these 2. At the end of August, Ma Hu completed the planning of Where Are We Going, Dad, and Challenge the Limit. Just when Ma Hu thought he could relax a little next month, he didn't know that his good sister Yu Feihong had arranged a place for him to audit the performance department of Beijing Film Academy. Chapter 6 finally got some meat. In mid-September, Ma Hu finally got all the variety show planning cases done. It has to be said that the efficiency is still very high. And Shen Meiru's speed is not bad either. The first 4 planning cases have completed the global copyright registration. Ma Hu is holding the copyright certificate that he just registered and keeps grinning as if he saw a lot of small money flying towards him. After entering September, Jin Chen came back, but like Guli and Dilly, he basically had to stay in school during the day. So Ma Hu has been working hard to output the scripts and plans that he can use in the past 2 weeks. That night, Ma Hu came to Yu Feihong's room. Yu Feihong, who was cleaning the room, was stunned when he saw Ma Hu coming and then smiled gently. "Brother Hu, I didn't expect that I was still looking for you and you came to my door." Hearing Yu Feihong's words, Ma Hu's body stagnated and then he folded his arms. "Sister, don't do anything stupid, otherwise even if you can get my body, you can't get me." After saying this, Ma Hu looked at Yu Feihong pitifully. Yu Feihong rolled his eyes directly, then stepped forward and grabbed Ma Hu's ears and walked to the sofa, pushing Ma Hu down on the sofa. And Ma Hu's expression at this time was even more prelude, how cheap he could be. At the same time, he was shouting, "Sister, please don't, you can't get true love by forcing." Ma Hu's mean look made Yu Feihong so angry that he leaned over to hit Ma Hu. However, he happened to trip over the carpet beside the sofa. Then, just like in many bloody romance dramas, Ma Hu wanted to protect Yu Feihong, who was about to fall, and then Ma Hu hugged Yu Feihong and fell back on the sofa. What was equally bloody was that Yu Feihong's seductive red lips were printed on Ma Hu's mouth. In this situation, compared to the stunned Yu Feihong, Ma Hu would not miss this good opportunity. So he secretly stuck out his tongue. The stunned Yu Feihong was even more at a loss. However, feeling the constant invasion of the tongue in his mouth, he couldn't help but cater to it. After a long time, Yu Feihong, who suddenly realized, reacted and pushed Ma Hu away. Although he was 5 years older than Ma Hu, this was the first time Yu Feihong encountered such a situation. So he was even more embarrassed. He lowered his head shyly and kept hitting Ma Hu with his little pink fist while constantly cursing at him. At this time, Ma Hu was extremely satisfied and then slowly savored it. After all, he had lived 2 lives and it was the first time he had tasted the taste of such a beautiful woman. Also in this time and space, he finally got to eat some meat. If it weren't for the time travel, he really wouldn't have such an opportunity. After all, he was a complete loser in his previous life. Looking at Yu Feihong, who kept hitting him with his little fist, Ma Hu pulled Yu Feihong into his arms again without any courtesy and then kissed the tempting red lips again. Until the resistance in his arms became weaker and weaker. After a long time, Yu Feihong pushed Ma Hu away again and the two separated their lips again. Yu Feihong said shyly, "Okay, let's talk about business. You came to me just to take advantage of me, right?" Ma Hu stopped his hand moving up and down after hearing this. But he still hugged Yu Feihong and said, "Business. I just want my sister to introduce me to some connections. After all, I still have to work hard to make money to fulfill our agreement. If I don't work harder, I'm worried that I can only beg for food. Connections? Do you want to sell your variety show ideas?" Ma Hu kissed Yu Feihong's cheek again as if he was taking advantage of her. "You are so smart, you are worthy of being my wife." Yu Feihong was speechless when she saw this little pervert who took advantage of her today. "Who do you want to find?" "I don't have many resources, so tell me your ideas first, let me see if I can contact the other party." Ma Hu thought about it and it was true. After all, he thought a little too much. After all, Yu Feihong in this time and space was different from his previous life. Now she is a teacher at Beijing Film Academy and she has not yet reached the stage of being both a famous movie star and a director. So Ma Hu thought about it and said to Feihong, "Find time to invite teacher Huang to have dinner together. It would be better if teacher he can come so that we can talk directly." "The two of them?" "No problem, the day after tomorrow weekend, it's just the time for rest. I just want to see if He Ling is in Kyoto, if not, he will need some time to come." "Isn't it a bit inappropriate to ask him to come directly without saying anything?" "Wife, you can tell him that I have a variety show that is more suitable for teacher he and teacher Huang and ask them to come and see the plan." "Well, this is the best, otherwise it is indeed a bit inappropriate to ask them to come dryly." "But which plan are you talking about? Which one do you think is the most suitable, wife?" "Suitable for He Ling. The Voice of China. Longing for Pastoral Life. Yes, my wife is smart. These two are indeed suitable for him, but I plan to give Longing for Pastoral Life to him first, and I can also take care of Huang Lei. In this way, the two of them can introduce more resources to us. After all, your future development requires human resources. These programs can definitely be a big hit. Don't waste these resources easily." However, the estimated copyright fee for Longing for Pastoral Life will not arrive soon. Maybe some investment is needed in the early stage, so other plans need to be sold as soon as possible. After listening to Ma Hu's words, Yu Feihong directly picked up the mobile phone on the coffee table and called Huang Lei. When Huang Lei learned about this, he immediately said that it was no problem and said that he would contact He Ling. Seeing that things were going so smoothly, Ma Hu also sighed secretly. It seems that China also needs favors and connections. Looking at the charming Yu Feihong in front of him, "From what you said just now, do you have something to ask me?" "Yes, the freshmen will start classes tomorrow. I told you and the teachers of the performance department to be an auditor when you have time and learn to avoid working in isolation." Looking at the stunned Ma Hu, Yu Feihong couldn't help but feel happy in his heart. "If you want to be lazy, I will find something for you to do." "No, wife, I am still planning to sell a few more planning cases before the National Day. How can I have time to go to school? Don't you want to see the beautiful girls in Beijing Film Academy? You know, the quality of beauties in our school is still very high." Ma Hu looked at Yu Feihong. This question was really hard to answer. He was caught by Yu Feihong accidentally. Wife, look, I haven't got any of you 10 beauties yet, how can I think about other things? Besides, it's useless to look at them, only the ones that belong to me are the most beautiful. For example, the 10 of you in my bowl are the real beauties. Yu Feihong was very satisfied with Ma Hu's answer and scratched Ma Hu's nose and said, "You little pervert have a conscience, but you can choose not to look at beauties, but you must attend the class. I have printed out all the acting course schedules for you from freshman to senior year. If you dare not go, be careful that I will tell them to attack you together." Looking at Ma Hu's miserable face, Yu Feihong was undoubtedly the happiest. After all, he had made such great efforts, even joining forces with other beauties to feed the tiger with his own body, just to make Ma Hu pursue something and not lie flat, right? So now, everything that Ma Hu is resisting is a good thing for Yu Feihong to push Ma Hu to work hard. Chapter 7: Staying overnight in Feihong's house. Ma Hu was really resistant to this matter. After all, his ideal was to earn money even if he couldn't lie down. But under the oppression of Yu Feihong, he could only try to resist. Even if the resistance was fruitless, he was ready to seek some benefits for himself. After all, the superficial taste just now had made him a little addicted. Then Ma Hu had a bitter face and didn't say anything. He just hugged Yu Feihong tightly. Even if Yu Feihong wanted to break free, he couldn't break free. Yu Feihong also understood what Ma Hu meant when he saw this. It was obvious that he didn't want to go. "You must agree, otherwise you can just find a job." "But I really don't want to, so what should I do?" "How about my wife give me some rewards? That way I will have motivation, right?" "Little rascal, don't think I don't know what you are thinking, it's impossible, let me go quickly, I want to wash up and go to bed." "No, I won't let you go if you don't agree." After more than 10 minutes of entanglement, Yu Feihong finally agreed to Ma Hu's request to stay overnight. This excited Ma Hu and he was very happy. After the two of them finished washing up and lying on the bed, Ma Hu began to be dishonest. Let Yu Feihong slap Ma Hu's hands that kept doing bad things from time to time. "Don't mess around. We agreed to sleep on a plain bed. If you mess around, you won't have a chance in the future. Who made my wife so beautiful? You know, I'm a normal man. Then think about it yourself. Don't let your sister look down on you. I won't give you a chance in the future." While Yu Feihong was speaking, she patted Xiao Ma Hu with her white and tender little hand. Ma Hu was actually just testing it. After all, he had already achieved a major victory. Then he had to boil the frog in warm water, otherwise he would be too hasty and might even mess things up. You know, there are several beauties waiting for him. So Ma Hu hugged Yu Feihong and chatted until he fell asleep in the middle of the night. After all, they are all normal people. It's really rare to see but not eat now. The next day, Ma Hu and Yu Feihong came to Beijing Film Academy together, or Yu Feihong escorted Ma Hu to Beijing Film Academy. After all, Ma Hu retreated again in the morning and didn't even want to get up from bed. Yu Feihong even personally escorted Ma Hu to a freshman class. Looking at Ma Hu who entered the classroom with a helpless expression, the freshmen were full of questions. After all, no one noticed such a guy during the military training. When the class officially started, he went directly into the classroom. Everyone was guessing about Ma Hu's origin and Yu Feihong's identity. After all, everyone saw that Ma Hu was escorted by Yu Feihong. Of course, some people knew Yu Feihong. From 1 to 2, everyone knew Yu Feihong's identity, and at the same time, they were more interested in Ma Hu's identity. There was even a male classmate who sat next to Ma Hu in the last row to ask about Ma Hu's identity. Ma Hu really didn't know much about these people. After all, there were only a few male actors he paid attention to in his previous life, so he was not very familiar with the freshmen in this class. He just said that he was an auditor and began to look around the students in the classroom. He wanted to see if he could find a few gems that he knew. However, after looking around, Ma Hu did not find anyone he knew, but Beijing Film Academy is Beijing Film Academy with handsome men and beautiful women and beautiful looks. The freshman classes are actually very simple. After Ma Hu spent half a day in class near noon, he found two beauties waiting at the door of the classroom as soon as the bell rang. A group of students who had just experienced the college entrance examination and were still a little immature secretly looked at the beauties outside, wanting to know who they were and who they were looking for. And Ma Hu recognized the two girls at a glance and also understood why the two girls came. Because there are only 3 beauties who can appear in this school and are familiar to him, 1 teacher and 2 students. Yu Feihong escorted him here in the morning, so the 2 people outside must be Guli and Dilly. This is probably Yu Feihong's work. I am still worried that I will skip class. I remember that the performance class in the afternoon is for the junior year, so I encourage Dilly and Dilly to wait for me so that I can't skip class and go to class directly with Dilly in the afternoon. At this time, Mahu couldn't help but think that it seems that having too many women is also a kind of trouble. The teacher just went out, and the young freshman hadn't had time to go out, but Gula stepped into the classroom half a step to look for Mahu. When she saw Mahu, she waved to Mahu excitedly, "Brother Ma, here, we are here to pick you up." Mahu felt that the eyes of the whole class were focused on his face, so he didn't dare to hesitate at all, took a few steps quickly, and walked out of the classroom in the envious eyes of a group of young boys. "Are you two arranged by Sister Yu to keep an eye on me?" Mahu looked at the two girls and asked. "Guli, Brother Ma, you are great, you guessed it." After listening to Guli's words, Dilly and Mahu both covered their foreheads. Then Mahu took the hands of the two and left on the left and right. What was left was a kind of envy of a little boy. After leaving the teaching building, Mahu looked at the two girls. "Do we eat at your school or go home?" "Of course we are going home. Sister Yu is still waiting at home. She said that today is your first day of school and she wants to make you a delicious reward." Mahu was speechless about this. After all, he had graduated for more than a year, but he was tricked into going to school again. He really didn't want to go to school. At this time, all he wanted was to lie down, to make money while lying down and then marry the beautiful woman next to him. It has to be said that the rate of turning back for beautiful women is very high, even in the film academy where there are handsome men and beautiful women. The combination of Mahu, a man and two women, is still very eye-catching. However, many senior students still know Mahu. After all, Mahu's Pansi Cave Women's Kingdom is still very famous in Beijing Film Academy, and many students have also eaten and met in Mahu's restaurant. Mahu is also quite excited about the envy of others. This situation is not for everyone. Even many business tycoons probably have a hard time having this opportunity. After all, they need to pay attention to their reputation and worldly views. But Mahu is different. In his new life, he focuses on being free and easy and lying down. He doesn't have the heart to live off others, otherwise he might have been lying aside waiting for someone to feed him. When Mahu and the other two returned home, Yu Feihong had already prepared lunch. Even Qin Kei and Shen Meiru were there. Seeing Mahu coming back, he also greeted him warmly, and Yu Feihong said with a happy face, "Not bad, you didn't disappoint me. I thought you would skip class after one class. How is it possible? Who am I? I can't skip class for you, right?" Shen Meiru laughed and said, "It seems that you ate all of Sister Feihong's sugar-coated bullets. You didn't just eat the sugar and throw the bullets back. Sister Meiru, when will you give me a sugar-coated bullet?" "My sugar-coated bullet? Haha, I'm afraid you don't dare to eat it. If you eat it, your life will be over. I will definitely squeeze you dry and leave you with nothing." Mahu also cooperated by patting his chest with his hand and imitating the female voice and said, "Oh, damn ghost, I'm so scared." "Do you think I was scared?" Seeing Mahu's mischief, the girls laughed, and only Shen Meiru walked quickly to Mahu and chased him and beat him. Chapter 8 Planning for the Women. After a while, Qin Kei stopped the two. "Okay, let's eat quickly. After dinner, you should rest and work." At the dinner table, Yu Feihong also learned about Mahu's morning situation. Mahu is naturally good at everything. Anyway, he has made up his mind. Tomorrow, he will ask Huang Lei and He Ling to help him find resources. After the project is settled, he will hide on the show if he can't do anything. Then he will fish in troubled waters and lie flat as usual. But what he didn't know was that during this period, the 10 women had already opened a small group separately, and they were always discussing how to make Mahu work hard. After all, the reason they signed the agreement was to help Mahu and prevent him from lying flat. Going to the school to audit was just the first step. While eating, Mahu looked at Shen Meiru. "Sister Meiru, I think I'll need your help in the future. I'm going to collect more money before the end of the month. As for the consulting fee, I can only pay you when I have money." Shen Meiru was probably still angry, so she said unhappily, "You want to lie down without money? My consulting fee is very expensive. Helping you register those copyrights is my free service. I will take 10% of every business in the future." Mahu curled his lips and said, "You are obsessed with money. 10% is 10%. Do you think I'm short of that little money?" Shen Meiru was stunned, then looked at Qin Kei and Yu Feihong. "Should I burn it? Why is he so happy?" Qin Kei and Yu Feihong were also surprised. As far as they knew, the man in front of them was very short of money, so why is he so generous now? Mahu saw that the situation was not right and hurriedly said, "Sister Meru, we have a deal, it's 10%, no more, otherwise I'm working in vain. If it really doesn't work, can I pay it with my body tonight?" After saying that, Mahu threw a coquettish look at Shen Meru. That look is as cheap as it can be. The result was the common roll of the eyes of the 5 women. "What do you think you are? Pay with your body. Besides, even if you pay with your body, you are not worth that much money," Shen Meru said. "Sister Meru, you are a bit insulting. Why am I not worth it? Not only am I worth it, but I am definitely worth more. I think you are super cheap, right? Haha tilde. Shen Meru's words even made Guli spit out the food in her mouth, and she happened to be sitting opposite Mahu. She spit all over Mahu's face. Mahu was in trouble now. Even though Guli was a great beauty, it was still hard for Mahu to accept such an experience. She stopped talking and went to the bathroom to wash up. The 5 girls laughed even more arrogantly. It was not until Mahu returned to the table that they gradually regained their composure. However, after this, everyone just ate a few bites and stopped. Although Mahu and Shen Meru were bickering, they still supported each other. In the afternoon, Mahu went to Beijing Film Academy with Guli and Dilly. Of course, he went to class with Dilly this afternoon. Compared to the freshmen this year, there are 2 celebrities in the same class with Dilly. They are Zhong Shanhe and Yang Zi, who debuted as child stars and became famous in Home with Kids. Seeing these 2 people, Mahu also had some ideas. Of course, it is not to continue to expand the size of his harem. But I think that it is difficult for these women to perform better by relying on variety shows alone, and it is time to think about the big and small screens. Let's see if I can still pick up the leak, and hope that I or these women are lucky enough. The TV series and movies I remember have not appeared yet. After all, as a man, I have very few impressions of TV programs with heroines. Mahu sat in the last row of the classroom again. After all, he still has self-knowledge. The back row is the throne of stupid students, and he also needs to check some information. So the last row is the Feng Shui treasure land, which makes Dilly very dissatisfied. After all, she thought that Mahu could sit in the same row with her at first, so that she could experience the feeling of campus romance. As a result, Mahu refused to sit in the front row with her, so she had to sit in the last row with Mahu. However, Dilly observed Mahu's performance while listening to the class. Just saw Mahu holding a mobile phone that was not very smart and constantly looking at it. Dilly reminded him several times but got no response. At this time, Mahu was immersed in searching for TV series and movies in his memory. The sooner these are confirmed, the sooner he can take them out. Time waits for no one. Even if it cannot be filmed temporarily, it is not bad to register the copyright first. After checking, My Fair Princess is no longer a thing to think about. After all, Zhao Wei, Da Bingbing and Shinru have become famous with this drama. It is replayed every year. In this time and space, Journey to the West and Romance of the Three Kingdoms are also in existence. Mahu can't miss them. Knowing that the 4 costume dramas Legend of Huan, Legend of Yiya, Strategy of Great Jubilee, and Little Flower Bone did not appear in this time and space, he only watched them once because of their great reputation in the previous life, but fortunately, the plots and the like are deeply imprinted in his mind. There are also 3 urban dramas, Love Story in Kyoto, Ode to Joy, and Nothing But 30, as well as the sitcom Wu Lin Wai Zhuan. There are only a few TV dramas with more actresses in Mahu's memory. However, this is not bad. After all, it is good for a man in his previous life to be able to manage so many TV series. Seeing that there is still time, Mahu checked other popular TV series in his impression. The result is still surprising. Soldier Assault, Bright Sword, Lush, In the Name of the People, Kwang Biao, and some popular online dramas are not available at this time. These are enough to keep me busy for a while. Mahu plans to put the movie aside for now. After all, his experience is really limited, so Mahu plans to be a porter among these selectively. Move the classics of the original time and space to this time and space. When the class was about to end, Di Li watched Mahu writing and drawing on a piece of paper, but he couldn't see clearly. Until the bell rang, Di Li snatched the paper from Mahu's hand. Then what Mahu did in class was presented in front of him. At this time, the main content on the paper was the names of these TV series summarized by himself. The most written were the 4, Ode to Joy. There are 5 female protagonists in this TV series, which is more suitable for my current situation. 7 of my 10 wives in the agreement are actors. I can put in the most people, but I will definitely not use all my own people. After all, if I do so, the show may lack the flavor of the original time and space. You know, in fact, every actor has his own way of acting, and not all popular TV series are suitable for everyone. Is this the script you wrote? Ma-hu, who was immersed in thinking, was startled by Di Li. After hearing Di Li's question, he answered randomly, yes, a TV script mainly based on urban women. Ah. These are all so amazing. I said, if I don't have some ability, how can I sign that agreement with you? So wait for your husband to marry you obediently. Di Li also blushed when he heard this. At this time, Zhongshan came up. Boss Ma, your restaurant is closed, so you came here to listen to the class. When I came back from school, I found that your restaurant was closed. Are you planning to change your career? Yes, Xiaoshanzi, I am planning to change my career and compete with you for food. Look at my conditions, how is my brother better than yours? So you have to be careful. Because Zhongshan and his classmates had eaten at Ma-hu restaurant many times under Dilly's leadership, they were basically familiar with it. So he joked with Zhongshan. Then I underestimated Brother Ma. With Brother Ma's conditions, I thought he would stop struggling and prepare to retire in that small restaurant. I want to lie down, but the beauties don't agree to do that. No one wants me. I will not retire but live alone. As soon as Ma-hu finished speaking, Yangzi appeared. How about Brother Ma, how about you look at me? When I graduate, how about I lie down with you? No, your little chubby face is not the type I like. Brother Ma, you are too disrespectful. You don't know how to say something nice to others, but you fight with me directly and nakedly. Yangzi complained and teased Ma-hu with a coquettish voice. And Di Li and other classmates were indeed watching the joke, ready to see how Ma-hu would deal with it. Other things are easy to say, the key is that the clip sound made Ma-hu a little defenseless. Okay, I admit defeat, okay. Don't come and join in the fun. I haven't settled my family affairs yet, and I don't want to cause trouble at this time. Ma-hu's words made the students in the classroom burst into laughter. Huang Lei, who did not leave the classroom but watched the fun, also came over. Xiao Ma, you come to audit my class but you don't listen seriously. You either play with your phone or write and draw. What are you doing? Chapter 9 Preparing to Treat. Ma-hu had already seen Huang Lei walking towards him, and just as he was about to answer, he saw him talking. Di Li on the side couldn't help but said, Teacher Huang, Brother Ma said he was preparing some TV scripts. What? The classmates in the class asked questions together. Students in the acting department are very eager for scripts. After all, without a good script, they can't gain popularity, and then they will slowly disappear from the audience's sight. Di Li handed the paper to Huang Lei while speaking. Although there was nothing on it, there were some things written by Ma-hu. Huang Lei took a look and said, Are these all you are going to write? There are more than a dozen, right? They are just some ideas and preliminary names. I haven't officially started writing yet. You are good, kid. I am looking forward to tomorrow. Other students didn't know what Huang Lei meant, but Di Li and Ma-hu knew that Huang Lei was talking about the variety show plan prepared by Ma-hu. Don't worry, I won't let you down. That's good, but since you are here to listen to the class, you have to listen, otherwise it's too disrespectful to me. Teacher Huang, I really don't have any idea about acting. Being an actor is not as comfortable as writing scripts and plans. Only in this way can I achieve freedom. You kid, I think you just lack the beating of society. It's not good to have such thoughts at such a young age. No wonder teacher you must let you come to audit. You kid just need to be repaired. Ma-hu could only smile at this. After all, his starting point is also for his own good. But who knows that Ma-hu was beaten by society in his previous life? He was so bad. Every day he worried about 3 meals a day, mortgage and car loans. All the industries he had worked in were profitable industries, but he always missed the wealth. It was just bad luck opening the door to bad luck at home. Then Mr. Huang and Mr. He, please come early tomorrow. Let's discuss and see if you have a better plan. Wait tomorrow, kid. At the same time, you have to prepare good food and wine. The food tasted very good that day. I am still a little greedy now. After Huang Lei finished speaking, he returned to the teaching desk to prepare the lesson plan, while Zhongshan took advantage of the situation and said, Brother Ma, don't forget your brothers when good things happen. It depends on your performance. Brother Ma, you are in our class and we are classmates. As an elder brother, shouldn't you show your appreciation to us younger brothers and sisters? Seeing everyone's expectant eyes, Ma-hu waved his hand. Come to my house after school. How about we grill? For Mahu's invitation, everyone had no reason to refuse. After all, the food in Mahu's restaurant tasted good before, not to mention that he was treating them. The class started soon. Mahu thought about the ingredients at home. It seemed that everything was complete, except for beef and mutton. I still have a grill, charcoal and barbecue ingredients. There are quite a lot of ingredients for more than 30 people, and it seems that I need to prepare them in advance. I am afraid that the money in my pocket is not enough. I looked at the beautiful Dilly beside me and then shook my head. Don't count on this beauty. My restaurant has been closed recently, and she and Guli have lost one way to make extra money. It seems that I should go to my good sister Kinkei to borrow money after class. After all, as a company executive with an annual salary, the money in my hand must be good. Then I started to write the script of Ode to Joy with peace of mind. After all, this is related to my income and also to my woman's work. As a porter, because the regulations are clear, he only needs to present what he has seen one by one. It may not be as good as the script written by professional screenwriters, but it can always show the content of the plot. The speed is very fast, and the plot of 3 episodes of Ode to Joy can be written in one class. After class, Mahu told Dilly about his plans. Dilly was very dissatisfied with Mahu's early departure, but she felt warm in her heart when she thought of Mahu. After all, Mahu was also helping him to build a good relationship with his classmates. After saying hello to Huang Lei and others, Mahu left. When he left, Huang Lei also said that he would go there in the evening. It seemed that he couldn't wait to see Mahu's plan. Mahu had no objection to this. It was a matter of sooner or later, and maybe Huang Lei could introduce some resources earlier. After leaving the classroom, Mahu immediately called Kinkei. After listening to Mahu's words, she asked him to wait for her at the nearby convenience market, saying that she would come to help. Mahu must have raised his hands and feet to agree to this. After all, not only did it solve the problem of money, but it was also a kind of enjoyment to be able to go shopping with a beautiful woman. At least it was an enjoyment for now, wasn't it? Not long after Mahu arrived at the market, Kinkei also arrived. Today, Kinkei is wearing a grey business suit, a pair of white stiletto high heels, and a pair of flesh-coloured stockings on her legs. Whether you look from afar or up close, she is a strong career woman with a strong aura and beautiful face. Looking at the beautiful lady approaching from afar, Mahu also took 2 steps forward and greeted Kinkei. Sister Kei, your outfit today really fascinates me. You little pervert, you only know how to talk nonsense. If you don't work hard, you can't get my sister no matter how beautiful she is. In order to make Mahu work hard, these women will not miss any opportunity to hit Mahu. Looking at the embarrassed Mahu, Kinkei, let's go, you little enemy, did the sisters owe you in the last life? Mahu smiled. What do you need to buy? There are more than 30 people in Dilly's class. Each person needs 1 pound of meat and half a pound of vegetables. Including our own people, we need 50 pounds of beef and mutton each, 20 pounds of leeks, 10 pounds of enoki mushrooms, and 10 pounds of steamed buns. Teacher Huang and teacher he will come to eat tomorrow, so prepare more. Oh my God, no wonder you called me. It seems that you can't even take out the money now. After Kinkei finished speaking, she took out her mobile phone and transferred 10,000 yuan to Mahu using Alipay. Spend it first. If it's not enough, tell me and I'll transfer more. Thank you, beautiful sister. Beautiful sister is so nice. Can you give me a hug? You are not serious. What are you thinking? Do you think it's so good to eat sister's soft rice? Let me tell you, sister is waiting for you to fulfill your contract and become an additional wife. Sister, don't worry, I will never let you down. You can wait to enjoy the happiness in the future. Mahu patted his chest and said. It has to be said that beautiful women are catching wherever they go. Not to mention Kinkei, a beautiful lady with outstanding temperament. Kinkei also gave Mahu enough face and played with Mahu's arm. Kinkei was about 175 centimeters tall in high heels and matched with Mahu's height of 185 centimeters. They were very coordinated when walking. First, he asked for 50 kilograms of beef and mutton at the stall and asked the owner to cut them into pieces, marinate them at home, and put them on skewers to grill them. Then he bought everything, which was a bit too much. Finally, Mahu asked the owner to arrange for him to be sent home directly. Because of the restaurant he opened before, he was familiar with many of the stall owners in the market. The small request of door-to-door delivery can still be met. Chapter 10 Death Stare from Beauties. Kinkei and Mahu returned home, changed into home clothes, and the purchased ingredients arrived. Fortunately, Mahu had opened a restaurant before, so he had basically everything. But looking at the time, it is estimated that there is no time to marinate the meat. However, the problem is not big, and it won't be difficult for Mahu. Kincaid tied up her long hair, wearing home clothes, and helped Mahu wash vegetables. Mahu took out the nearly 3-meter-long grill that he used to run a restaurant. The nearly 3-meter-long grill weighs nearly 200 pounds. Mahu carried it alone without any pressure. According to the original owner's memory, the original owner definitely didn't have this ability. It can be seen that my physical fitness must have improved after crossing over this time, which is also a good thing. Kincaid, who was washing vegetables in the yard, was stunned. After all, they had helped the original owner lift this grill before, and they knew its weight. Now, Mahu easily moved it alone. This strength is really beyond words. Mahu put down the grill and looked at the dazed Kincaid. Beautiful sister, what do you think of your little husband? Is he a man with overwhelming manliness? She even posed as she spoke. Seeing Mahu's shameless narcissism, Kincaid also chuckled. Yes, very powerful. You must protect and support your sister in the future. No problem, Mahu said, and shook his head in a chic manner. Unfortunately, he did not have long hair that could make him look very chic. Then he lit the charcoal, and then the table, stools, drinks and beverages were prepared one by one. Just as Mahu was ready, he heard the voices of Dilly and Gully at the door. Brother Ma, we are back. As he said that, he saw more than 40 people coming in a mighty manner. This scale is really powerful. Get ready, help with the work when you come, you can't eat for free, wash the vegetables, skewers, they are all waiting for you. Gully and Dilly went to change clothes, while Zhongshan and others helped wash the vegetables and skewers. There is strength in numbers, and these tasks are still easy to complete. Not long after, Yu Feihong and Huang Lei's family came together. As for the people at home, Lin Rui and Jin Chen would probably order a little, and Shen Meiru would be home soon. Seeing that almost everyone was there, Mahu started cooking. Huang Lei was also helping out, after all, he was quite good at it. In his previous life, people said he was Huang Xiaochu. Whether it was true or not, he really didn't know, but it looked pretty good. Mahu prepared the barbecue ingredients himself. After all, he didn't have time to marinate, so he could only add ingredients when grilling. After grilling a few and trying them, the taste was very good, better than the taste of many barbecue stalls and much better than the original owner's previous grilling. More people means more fun, and fortunately Mahu's yard is big enough. It wasn't too crowded with all these people at the same time. Mahu grilled skewers with Huang Lei and at the same time talked about the variety show plan. Huang Lei was shocked when he listened and felt that this program had great potential. But Mahu also raised his concerns, that is, he didn't know if he could find a TV station to take over the broadcast. At the same time, he also told Huang Lei that he had other plans and needed Huang Lei and He Ling to introduce some resources for him so that he could sell these plans to recover funds. Huang Lei patted his chest and said that it was no problem and he would help Mahu contact the TV station as soon as possible to see if there were any TV stations that liked these plans. Of course, Mahu also told Huang Lei about several other variety show plans he was going to sell. After all, he couldn't let others say that he had a plan without knowing the content of the plan. After a while, Jin Chen also came back, and everyone was there. Among them, Mahu also talked with Huang Lei about the variety show Where Are We Going, Dad? If he could find a partner, he could give Huang Lei and his daughter 6 places. Huang Lei was naturally very happy about this. However, when he learned that there was a variety show suitable for him, Huang Lei was even happier. He picked up the beer beside him and said to Mahu, Xiao Ma, I don't need to thank you for your kindness. If you have anything, just tell me. I will do it without hesitation. It must be said that Mahu brought a lot of surprises to Huang Lei, 3 variety shows at one time. There are 2 that can be started at any time, and one sounds good, but it seems that Mahu means to wait. But think about it and understand, after all, if too many are produced at one time, the effect will not be very good. Mahu also picked up the beer beside him and drank all the beer in the bottle. Brother Huang, you are polite. Just take care of me in the future. After all, these beautiful tenants of mine will be in your circle in the future. If there are good resources in the future, just recommend them more. Huang Lei immediately understood what Mahu meant when he heard it. Pointing at Mahu, you kid. Did you write the script for them this afternoon? Not entirely. The first step of writing is definitely for them. I just need to think about who to put on the stage. Sure, kid. I'll give you some reference when you finish writing. Then I won't be polite. After all, I'm not a professional screenwriter. Maybe I need to reorganize it and need your guidance. Ma Hu and Huang Lei chatted while grilling skewers. The two cooperated well, and there was no shortage of food on everyone's table. Huang Lei also admired Ma Hu's cooking skills. After thinking for a while, he said, "Xiao Ma, how about you be included in the longing for pastoral life? You are a chef and you are also good at cooking. This way we can save some notice fees, right? The cooking character is for you. If I go, won't I steal your limelight?" "What limelight?" "I think you want to be lazy." After Huang Lei finished speaking, he started to greet Yu Feihong, and Ma Hu didn't stop him. He could only look at Huang Lei with fate. "Brother Huang, you are not a good person. You actually hurt me." Yu Feihong came to the side and heard what Ma Hu said. He also looked at the two with a questioning look, not knowing what the relationship between the two was. Huang Lei was not polite. "Feihong, just now Xiao Ma talked about the variety show that we are going to discuss tomorrow. I think this show is actually very suitable for Xiao Ma. After all, there is a chef role in the show. I asked him to participate, but he didn't come. Otherwise, you can talk to him and he may listen to you." Yu Feihong nodded, indicating that he knew, and then turned around and walked towards Qin Kai. Ma Hu knew that he was finished at a glance. After all, if there was only one Yu Feihong, maybe he could still fool him, but if Qin Kai also joined in, it would be troublesome. Especially Qin Kai just paid for his food in the afternoon and gave him 10,000 pocket money. If she made a request, he really didn't know how to refuse. Sure enough, after a while, Qin Kai, Yu Feihong, Shen Meiru, Lin Ruyi, Jin Chen, Guli and Dilly, 7 beauties, directly surrounded Ma Hu. He didn't say anything, just looked at Ma Hu. That made Huang Lei on the side feel a little creepy. Others looked at Ma Hu as if they were watching a joke. Ma Hu couldn't stand it for more than 30 seconds. "Ladies and sisters, I know I was wrong, can't I participate?" Seeing Ma Hu's statement, Qin Kai didn't say anything and directly pulled the women around him back to continue chatting and eating meat. Huang Lei held back his laughter and looked at Ma Hu. "You could also have a cowardly moment. Brother Huang, as a married man, don't you know that women need to be coaxed and can't be pushed?" After Ma Hu finished speaking, he seemed to have come to his senses and said to Huang Lei, "Sorry, Huang, I said the wrong thing. You just understand the troubles of having a wife who is liked by several beauties." Looking at Ma Hu's smug look, Huang Lei wanted to string Ma Hu into a string and roast him on the fire. "You know nothing. My wife and I are called loyal. You seem to be called a sea king, right? You should know that I am also very popular with beauties." Okay. Brother Lei is charming. I will talk to Sister Li in a while and ask her to understand you and let you marry 2 more wives, okay?" Huang Lei was anxious when he heard it. Pointing at Ma Hu with the string in his hand, "Watch out, kid, or I will roast you." Seeing this, Ma Hu stopped while he was ahead and continued to talk about his plan with Huang Lei. Chapter 11 Death Stares from the Women. As they chatted, Zhongshan came over. "Brother Ma, Teacher Huang, how about you eat something and I'll try my hand?" Ma Hu looked at him and said, "Teacher Huang, you go eat and accompany your children and sister-in-law. The 2 of us will do." Huang Lei also went to find his wife and children. After all, he had been roasting for a long time and he really didn't eat much. Since Ma Hu didn't trust Zhongshan's skills, he just asked him to help. Zhongshan naturally obeyed orders and followed instructions. After all, he was a good comrade who only knew himself. Of course, Zhongshan did not forget the main business. "Brother Ma, is there a role suitable for me in the script you wrote this afternoon?" Ma Hu did not hide this. "I am not sure yet, after all, I am still thinking about it. Don't worry, if there is a suitable one, I will definitely find you. After all, you are not bad." Zhongshan was naturally relieved after getting Ma Hu's affirmation. After all, talking about things is not about saying you want it, but leaving an impression in the other party's mind so that if there is a suitable script, they will definitely think of you. Everyone had a happy meal. As for cleaning up the mess, Ma Hu did not intervene. After eating, everyone cleaned up everything consciously. After all, everyone has to have face, so they can't just eat without doing anything, right? Ma Hu ate while watching everyone clean up the mess. Now his appetite is very good. The ingredients and drinks prepared at the end were basically consumed, and even the 2 bottles of white wine brought by Huang Lei were all drunk. However, after the outsiders left, the 7 girls at home surrounded Ma Hu again. Looking at all the beautiful women, Ma Hu felt like he was facing a surer field. Yu Feihong was the first to speak. "Brother Hu, you didn't attend the class this afternoon, did you?" Ma Hu looked at Dilly in confusion. "Didn't the informer tell you what I was doing when I wasn't attending the class?" Don't change the subject, let's talk about the class first. Mahu saw something wrong and quickly argued, I'm talking about the class. Then he looked around at the girls with a pitiful look. I sacrificed my study time to plan for your careers. Do you think it's easy for me? In the end, you tried me like a 3-court trial. Looking at Mahu's mean look, the girls also laughed. Dilly quickly explained, Brother Ma, I didn't know that was the script prepared for us. Don't blame me. Who told you not to tell me? Looking at the little informer, Mahu threatened her, well, okay, I think so in your heart. I originally prepared a script for you, but it seems that you don't need it much. Dilly was even more anxious when she heard this. She came directly to Mahu and hugged his arm while shaking him and said coquettishly, Good brother, don't blame me, I just want you to listen to the class carefully and then you can write a hit plot and we can cooperate in it and be a screen couple. Oh, okay, I know you just want to be a screen couple with me and the original agreement was perfunctory to me. I tilde. Now Dilly was frightened by Mahu and didn't know how to explain. Kincaid couldn't stand it anymore and slapped Mahu's head, okay, stop teasing her. You've made her so anxious that she can't even speak. Mahu smiled when he heard this, how can my little wife survive in this circle in the future? If she doesn't exercise, she will always be bullied. Yu Feihong said, it's good if you don't bully her. I'll give you a chance to quibble. Tell me about your script and arrangements. Mahu looked at the expectant eyes of several people and had to go back to the room to take out the Ode to Joy written this afternoon. After handing the script to Yu Feihong, he told everyone about his arrangements. There are 5 heroines in this drama, and 4 of them can be chosen from among us. I just don't know if Sister Feihong can play the role. If Sister Feihong doesn't want to play the role, she may have to meet someone else. Of course, if Sister Kei, Sister Meru and Sister Rui have ideas, they can also try. As soon as Mahu finished speaking, the 3 women directly refused, saying that they liked their current careers and didn't want to cross industries. In this regard, Mahu could only give up and looked at Yu Feihong. Yu Feihong read the script at a glance and handed it to others. You want me to play Andy? Hee, sister is smart, that's what you mean. Who are you going to find to play Chu Xiaoxiao? Sister, you are great. I know there is no suitable one among you, so I have to find external help. As for who to find, it is not yet determined. Shengmai can be given to Xuanxuan, Guana can be given to Shuing, and as for the youngest Yinging. Yu Feihong said while looking at the girls around him. Looking at the expectant eyes of several people, they finally fell on Jin Chen. Jin Chen is facing graduation this year, and he can have time to act in this drama. This result still disappointed Dilly and Guli. Will my sister play the role? Then I will take the role of Andy. As for Guli, Dilly and Yaya, don't you forget the 3 of them. Don't worry, how could I forget? Yaya will participate in Wanting first. Guli is not very suitable for the small screen. I will help her try the big screen in the future. Dilly is most suitable for ancient costumes and she will be arranged later. The 2 girls who were originally disappointed immediately regained their spirits and looked at Mahu with spring in their eyes. Guli also jumped over at this time and kissed Mahu on the cheek. This made Mahu very happy. Since they talked about it, Mahu was ready to say more. In addition to Yaya who can participate in Wanting, Running Wildly also needs a female guest. This is a high-intensity outdoor variety show, so I think Jin Chen is more suitable. After all, she has a good dance foundation and her physical strength should be no problem. After Mahu finished speaking, he looked at Yu Feihong and Jin Chen. Yu Feihong thought about it and it was true. Jin Chen nodded to indicate that it was okay. After all, his good brother helped him arrange the opportunity. How could he refuse? There are actually many such opportunities in the future, so don't worry, everyone will have opportunities. As for Kincaid, there are 3 of you and it will be easy to arrange in the future. If you want to work, we will set up a company by ourselves. Kincaid will be the boss, Mayu will be the legal consultant, and Rui will be the internal doctor. I have arranged your husbands well, right? Looking at the arrogant Mahu, Kincaid, Shen Mayu and Lin Rui were very moved, but they still rolled their eyes. I think you little bastard just want to exploit our labor force and you say it so nicely. Hee, the key is to see what you think. If you don't want to work, I can also support you. Don't worry about this. Mahu is quite confident about this issue. After all, the programs, TV series and movies that he can remember can be said to be very popular. There is no need to worry about failure without an audience. There are still many classics in my brain that have not been brought out. There is absolutely no problem in using them to support my woman's career. Seeing that Ma Hu has made arrangements for everyone is still very satisfied. After all, they have taken care of everything. Qin Kei saw that it was getting late, so she arranged for everyone to disperse. These things can be discussed slowly later. Things should be done one by one. Ma Hu told Shen Meiru about tomorrow's affairs and asked her to go and do them first if she had anything to do. After all, even if the deal was done tomorrow, it might not be necessary to sign the contract on the spot. There should be a lot of things involved. Shen Meiru said she would come at any time. Afterwards, Ma Hu did not return to his second floor, but followed the large group to the third floor, where Yu Feihong, Qin Kei and Shen Meiru lived. Looking at Ma Hu who followed her upstairs, Shen Meiru teased, "Which sister are you going to find for sex today?" "Of course I'm going to find Sister Meiru. I wonder if Sister Meiru will give me this opportunity." "Go play somewhere else, little brat, what are you dreaming about?" "What little brat?" "I'm not. If you don't believe me, just try it. Go away, you little pervert." Shen Meiru at the door closed the door directly, leaned against it, and calmed down a little. She was still worried that Ma Hu would force himself to come in with him, but it turned out okay, but she always felt a little disappointed in her heart. Chapter 12 Big Sister's Tolerance. Ma Hu outside the door saw Shen Meiru close the door, and went to Qin Kei's room again. Qin Kei didn't close the door. She was startled by Ma Hu who suddenly came in after taking off her clothes. Ma Hu would never knock on the door in advance for such a thing, after all, knocking on the door means that the opportunity is gone. Seeing Ma Hu coming in, Qin Kei, who was frightened, immediately found clothes to wrap himself up. "What are you doing here, you little pervert? Don't you know how to knock on the door?" "Knock on the door? If I knock on the door, won't I be unable to come in?" "Hee, I've made you spend money today, so I'm here to pay you back." "Do you have money?" "No." "How can you pay me back if you don't have money?" Qin Kei thought about it in confusion, and then said in confusion, "You don't mean to say that you want to pay me back with your body?" Hee, sister is smart, this is what I plan to do." Qin Kei was speechless after hearing this. "You little bad guy, is it your loss or my sister's loss? Go away." "No, I want to make sure you share the spoils equally, and I'll sleep here tonight." Qin Kei looked helplessly at Ma Hu who was already lying on his bed. "You little brat, you just slept at Fei Hong's place yesterday, and you came to my room today, are you a Chen Shimai? Don't talk nonsense, or I'll sue you for defamation. I just slept with Sister Fei Hong yesterday, and didn't do anything." "That won't work either, what do you want Sister Fei Hong to think? What do you want others to think? Go quickly, you have to accompany Fei Hong today and tomorrow, understand?" Seeing this, Ma Hu also understood that Qin Kei was really thinking about him, so he pulled Qin Kei into his arms with his hand, and then kissed her seductive red lips without hesitation. Looking at the charming and intoxicating face, Ma Hu finally restrained himself. After all, if she didn't reject him, it meant that she approved of his behavior, but he still needed to consider the other party, otherwise he would really become a scumbag who only cared about sex but not heart. After a long time, Qin Kei pushed Ma Hu away. "Go to Fei Hong's room quickly, don't make Fei Hong sad, sister can accompany you after these 2 days, okay?" "Okay, sister, you are so nice, don't worry, I won't let you down, just wait to be my wife." Then Ma Hu got up and left, looking back every few steps. Qin Kei was left alone to recall the feeling of drying vegetables, eager and intense. Qin Kei could still see clearly how the women felt about Ma Hu, and everyone was interested. After all, Ma Hu's appearance and character can withstand the test based on years of observation. He is not the kind of irresponsible person, but at present, this little guy seems to have suddenly opened his Ren and Du meridians and started to become a little fickle. However, in this society, everyone is used to it. After all, some men are fickle and don't want to take responsibility, and women who can't support themselves still want more. Now everyone's situation is much better than that. After all, Ma Hu is already working hard to make money to marry everyone. Ma Hu came to Yu Fei Hong's door and tried it. The door was still unlocked. It seemed that everyone really trusted him. So he pushed the door open and entered. After entering the door, he saw Yu Fei Hong who had just finished washing and came out of the bathroom with a bath towel wrapped around her. Yu Fei Hong was still mentally prepared for Ma Hu's arrival. However, even so, Ma Hu was startled by the sudden entry and the bath towel wrapped around him fell off. This was a feast for Ma Hu's eyes. The plump double peaks, fair skin, and slender thighs made Ma Hu bleed from his nose. Little Ma Hu immediately raised the flagpole as if he had received an order. After Yu Fei Hong exclaimed softly, he saw who was coming and immediately picked up the bath towel to wrap himself. "Why didn't you knock before coming in? So rude." Hee hee, if you knock on the door, won't you be able to see such a beautiful scenery? And why do you and Sister Ke have the same problem? Yu Feihong immediately stepped forward and grabbed Ma Hu's ear after hearing this. You little rascal, you must knock on the door when you enter my room next time, understand? Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Ma Hu immediately begged for mercy. Okay, I know, my dear sister, I know I was wrong, please forgive me. Yu Feihong was reluctant to use too much force, so she let go. Why don't you go out? I want to change clothes. You change, anyway, I have seen what I should and shouldn't see clearly. As soon as Ma Hu finished speaking, his ears were immediately grabbed by Yu Feihong again, and he was about to pull his ears to walk out the door. If he went out in this situation, how could he come back? So Ma Hu made up his mind and held Yu Feihong up despite the pain, which made Yu Feihong lose his mind immediately, thinking that he would be eaten today. Ma Hu carried Yu Feihong to the bedside, threw Yu Feihong directly on the bed, and then kissed the little red lips until Yu Feihong pushed him away. The messy bath towel gave Ma Hu another feast for the eyes. But he was just stunned for a moment, then went into the bathroom. Sister, change your clothes quickly, otherwise I can't guarantee that I can't bear not to eat you. Yu Feihong could only curse the little hooligan inwardly and quickly put on his clothes. At the same time, he felt that he was becoming less and less resistant to Ma Hu. At this time, Ma Hu was even more angry. Because he saw sexy little clothes in the bathroom. It was black lace, a man-killing suit. For Ma Hu, who was angry and had just tasted the seductive red lips of King Kei and Yu Feihong, it was definitely a greater temptation. Not long after, Yu Feihong's voice came over. Okay, come out, you little pervert, you only know how to bully me. Ma Hu pushed open the bathroom door. Why do you only know how to bully you? Isn't it because my sister is too beautiful? Who is prettier, me or your sister Kei? Ma Hu has reason to believe that the woman in front of him is digging a pit for him, and it is a big pit, which he must not jump into. No, you are all the same in my heart, stop it, don't ask me to choose 1 out of 2 or 10, as long as it is mine, it is the most beautiful. Yu Feihong saw that Ma Hu did not jump into the pit, and there was nothing he could do. This kid is much smarter than he thought. Did you go to your sister Kei's room just now? Since Yu Feihong asked, Ma Hu could not choose to lie at this time, because it seemed that he had said it just now. Yes, Sister Kei said I am Chen Shimai, I just slept in your room yesterday, and today I want to abandon you, saying that I have no conscience, and asked me to sleep in your room tonight, otherwise no one will care about me in the future. Do you think I've lost a lot? We slept in a plain bed yesterday and didn't do anything. How can it be Chen Shimai? What do you think? Aren't you Chen Shimai? You just coaxed someone yesterday, and today you want to coax someone else. You're a scumbag. Okay, it's my fault. I didn't think it through. I'm sorry. I apologize. Apologize? How sincere are you in your apology? Then you say it, sister. I accept the punishment and do whatever you say. You said it. I can't deny it. You don't have any special requests, do you? How can it be called a special request? I'm arranging good things for you. Can I refuse? No, in the future, as long as you have time and don't go to class, go to accompany the sisters to the crew and act as an assistant. Otherwise, don't sleep at my place tonight. Okay, I give in to you. You are the most persistent about this matter. Can't I promise you? In Ma Hu's opinion, being an assistant in the crew should be better than attending classes. After all, in the crew, he can find an excuse to go out and hang out. It's not the same with classes. Sometimes you really can't escape. There are little spies around him. Yu Feihong and other teachers are also familiar with him. With a little understanding, he knows what he did in class. It's different when he goes to the crew. He had such a plan before. Then the two went to bed and prepared to sleep. They also talked about some arrangements and plans for the future. Of course, there is also good news, that is, Ma Hu can go to Beijing Film Academy to write scripts later. He can listen to the classes in the classroom if he is interested, and he cannot listen if he is not interested. It is relatively relaxed. Chapter 13 Everything goes well. The next morning, Ma Hu looked at Yu Feihong beside him and couldn't help but secretly admire himself. There was such a beautiful woman beside him, and he actually slept with her. If he told others, people who didn't know might think that there was something wrong with his ability. Looking at Yu Feihong, who hadn't woken up yet, Ma Hu searched for his mobile phone with his hands and then looked at the chat messages of several beauties in the group. However, he realized belatedly that Tong Wei, Jiang Shuing and Zhong Shuang would all come back tomorrow. This is undoubtedly good news. Even if he can't eat, it feels good to be surrounded by beauties. It seems that he has to deal with the variety show plan as soon as possible today and prepare a big meal tomorrow to welcome the 3 people who have returned. This is also the first time that Mahu has gathered all the people since he crossed over. After reading the chat records, Mahu continued to look through the entertainment information of this time and space. After all, if he knows more, he won't be embarrassed to say the wrong thing. It's still very interesting that this world is connected to his original time and space. There are overlaps and differences. Mahu discovered that Boss Young in this time and space had just graduated about a year ago, graduating at the same time as Tong Wei, and was also a student of Beijing Film Academy. There were also Liu Shishi and Jiao Yuan, and fairy sister Liu Xiafei graduated a year earlier than Boss Young. It was really amazing. It seems that there is something in this world that he can explore on his own. Then Mahu checked the international information again. It must be said that the more he read, the more interesting it became. At the same time, he could give full play to his abilities. But on second thought, it seemed that this was contrary to his original intention. Why do I always want to do something in the entertainment industry now? Wouldn't that be too tiring? No, I must not let these women lead me astray, otherwise I would not be able to lie flat. At the same time, it seemed that it was my fault for making my women too hard. It seems that I need to lie flat with them in the future. I used to think too narrowly. I can't just think about myself. I need to be together. Mahu looked at Yu Feihong beside him and then hugged Yu Feihong again. Yu Feihong felt Mahu's broad chest and took the initiative to lean his head against Mahu's chest and then continued to sleep. Mahu also took another nap. When the sun was high in the sky, Qin Kei pushed the door open and called Mahu and Yu Feihong. Then he joked, "Can you two take it easy? I know you are new to sex, but there is no need to fight so hard, right?" Yu Feihong was shy but didn't know what to say. Mahu looked resentful, but he didn't dare to tell the truth. After all, if he told the truth, he would have no chance to go to Qin Kei's room later. Finally, he could only say forcefully, "Sister Kei, are you regretting letting me come to Sister Feihong's room last night? Otherwise, I can sleep in your room tonight." Qin Kei spat, "Little pervert, all right, you two should get up quickly, breakfast will probably become lunch, and Huang Lei and He Ling will probably be here soon." Mahu just remembered that there was still business to do. Sui Jin quickly got dressed and got up. Qin Kei and Yu Feihong began to talk in private. Mahu came out and saw Qin Kei looking at him with a smile, and Mahu was completely speechless. He knew that these women must have reached some kind of tacit understanding. So the idea of trying to get away with it didn't work again. "Okay, I'm afraid of you, you're awesome." Then he pulled the quilt and said, "Teacher Yu, as a teacher, why don't you get up quickly?" Mahu's sudden action startled Yu Feihong, and then he picked up the pillow and threw it at Mahu. "You little pervert, don't come to my room at night. Otherwise, I'll break your bird." Mahu dragged Qin Kei out of Yu Feihong's room in a mean way. Qin Kei looked at Mahu in a mean way and said, "You only know how to make us angry. How is it possible? Isn't this just to create a little atmosphere and fun for you? How can it be to irritate you? Okay, you know fun, you are great, but do you really sleep like a fool?" Hearing Qin Kei's words, Mahu stopped and stood face to face with Qin Kei. Putting his hands on Qin Kei's shoulders, they looked at each other and said, "Sister, you also understand my situation. Since you and I reached that agreement, you are my family. How can I force you to do something you don't want to do for your family? Remember my words, I will only be good to you and will not let you down." Looking at Mahu's serious expression, Qin Kei was also very moved and took the initiative to give Mahu a hug. After Qin Kei left Mahu's embrace, Mahu's words directly broke Qin Kei's defense. "Sister, I was narrow-minded before. I've decided. I'll take you to lie down together in the future, okay?" As soon as Mahu finished speaking, Qin Kei roared, "You little bastard, don't even think about it. Just wait and see how we deal with you." At this time, Mahu had already run to the second floor. The other women heard Qin Kei's roar and came to see what the problem was. Jin Chen and Jiu Li, who were on the second floor, also looked at Mahu with an inquiring look. The question was on their faces. "Hee, just now I said that I will take you to lie down together in the future. We will go out to travel and see the beautiful rivers and mountains of the world when we have nothing to do." Sister Kei was moved by this. After listening to Mahu's nonsense, Jin Chen and Jiu Li were laughing and laughing. "Jin Chen, you deserve it, annoying people everywhere." "Ah, is that so? Is my little Chen Chen annoying me too?" Mahu came to Jin Chen and kissed him on the cheek, then ran to Guli with a sly smile. Guli took the initiative to offer her cheek, but Ma Hu did not follow the routine and kissed Guli's cherry lips directly. Guli turned her head away quickly, and Jin Chen was even more happy when he saw it. Ma Hu has no actual big action now, but small actions are constantly taking place. He collected some interest at that time so that everyone would not be embarrassed or resist. Ma Hu is also constantly testing everyone's bottom line. It didn't take long for everyone to gather. Fortunately, the restaurant and dining table on the second floor are large enough, otherwise there really wouldn't be enough seats. Huang Lei and He Ling arrived after eating a few bites. Huang Lei had already read the copy of Pastoral Life, so Ma Hu still took out 2 sets of copies and handed them to the two. He Ling also heard Huang Lei's rough talk, and the more he read the detailed copy, the more he was fascinated. At lunch, an agreement was reached. He Ling would recommend it to Mango TV first. If he liked it, he would sell the copyright directly. If he didn't like it, Huang Lei, Ma Hu and He Ling would shoot it together and sell it after it was shot. At the same time, Ma Hu also took out 3 copywritings, Where Are We Going, Dad, and Flowers and Youth's Travel, and asked He Ling to help recommend it to Mango TV to see if the other party wanted it. This can be regarded as selling well to Mango TV. After all, Mango TV is still the first choice for this space-time entertainment variety show. Finally, Huang Lei also told Ma Hu a good news. Hangzhou Zhejiang TV is also interested in Running Wild and The Voice of China, and it is expected that someone will come to communicate with Ma Hu next week. This is undoubtedly good news. If all 5 plans are sold, then according to their own reserve price, they can get at least 20 to 30 million directly. In fact, if there is a bidding, the income may be higher, but it will not be very smooth for future development. I might as well just return the programs that belong to them in their original time and space. As for the programs of Tomato Channel, let's wait and see if they can be sold at a high price or strive for more resources. Lunch was conducted in a harmonious atmosphere. After lunch, He Ling returned to Shangnan without stopping. He was also eager to recommend these plans to the calendar. After all, a variety show that can become popular is definitely hard to come by. After He Ling left, Ma Hu communicated with Huang Lei again and waited for He Ling to get news and then began to prepare to choose the location for filming. In the afternoon, Ma Hu went out to purchase with everyone. After all, he was going to prepare a sumptuous reunion dinner for the 3 girls who were about to come back, or for everyone. Chapter 14: The first gathering of the 10 girls after crossing. That night, Ma Hu still slept in Yu Feihong's room. There were still some gains. Anyway, everyone found that Yu Feihong was a little unnatural when he spoke the next morning, just like his mandibular dislocation. This time, Ma Hu did not stay in bed. After all, he had to pick someone up. He drove his newly bought Toyota Prado to Daxing Airport. Fortunately, the 3 women had agreed to land here, so they did not have to travel too far to Kyoto Airport. Ma Hu's family now has 4 cars. Although they are not valuable cars, they have cars and license plates, which is a fortune. You should know that it is difficult to get a license plate in Kyoto in the original time and space. The original owner's parents left 3 cars, including a Buick GL8, a Dongfeng Xiaokang and an old Alto. The original owner was also lucky. Before he crossed over, he got a good license plate through the lottery and bought a new Toyota Prado. Looking at the current situation, Ma Hu feels that he needs a few more cars, at least to let his women have a convenient place to rest when they go out to film. However, this matter will be postponed for a while. After all, I have no money now, and I also need to know which nanny cars are the safest in this time and space. It took Ma Hu nearly 2 hours to drive from the North 3rd Ring Road to Daxing Airport, mainly because of traffic jams. Fortunately, Ma Hu made advance arrangements and arrived at the airport at 9 a.m., more than half an hour after Zhong Shuang, who arrived the earliest. An hour after Zhong Shuang arrived, Tong Wei arrived, and finally Jiang Xuing arrived. Lunch needs to be solved outside. After Ma Hu parked the car and rested for a while, he went to the airport to pick up Zhong Shuang. For Shuang girl, Ma Hu didn't know what to say. After all, his vision of looking at men in the original time and space was really not good. I hope that I can bring her good luck in this time and space. After waiting at the airport for 20 minutes, Ma Hu picked up Zhong Shuang. Fortunately, he was not late. Ma Hu went up to Zhong Shuang and gave her a big hug and a kiss. Unexpectedly, he made Shuang girl blush. He took the suitcase from Shuang Meizi and brought her to the car. After closing the car door, Ma Hu also kissed Shuang Meizi's cherry lips passionately. This made Shuang Meizi unable to resist until she woke up and pushed Ma Hu away. Brother Xiao Ma, you are so skilled. It seems that the sisters at home have been harmed by you a lot. Why? Don't you like it? I have already taken down those sisters at home, so you should just obey me. How could Ma-hu tell her the truth? He just wanted to protect her and let her let down her psychological defenses as soon as possible, so that he would have a chance to take advantage of her. Okay, brother Xiaoma, don't lie to me. I know your details very well. If you perform well, I will give you a reward. He took the initiative to give Ma-hu a passionate kiss. Ma-hu hugged Xuanmeizi and asked, "Are you hungry? If you are hungry, I have prepared some snacks for you to eat first. When they come, I will take you to eat braised pork." Xuanmeizi hugged Ma-hu's arm and said, "Oh, Xiaoma brother actually invited us to eat braised pork, so generous. It seems that Xiaoma brother is really out of money. Don't worry, we will treat you at noon, you don't have to spend money." "Oh? Are you going to support me? How could that be? We are still waiting for Xiaoma brother to marry us in the future, so we will treat you at noon. Then I will wait to eat your soft rice." Ma-hu said and kissed Xuanmeizi again. The two of them stayed until Tong Huai's plane was about to arrive before they separated. Xuanmeizi rested in the car, while Ma-hu first bought some food and hot coffee from Uncle Ken at the airport, and then appeared at the airport pickup gate again, waiting for Tong Huai to appear. However, Tong Huai's flight was delayed by about 20 minutes, while Jiang Shuing's was early, so Ma-hu could pick up Tong Huai and Jiang Shuing at the same time, which greatly saved the waiting time. Ma-hu was very happy about this. If everything went well, he could go home for dinner instead of eating out. After hugging the two girls separately, he handed the coffee and snacks in his hand to the two girls and took the suitcases from the two girls. The two were not famous, so there was no help, which was why Ma-hu drove Prado here. After getting in the car and asking for everyone's advice, Ma-hu called Qin Kei to inform them that he and the three girls would go home for lunch. Then they started to walk back. It was relatively smooth to return to the city, after all, it was almost noon now. It took half an hour less than when they came. On the way, Ma-hu also learned about the work of the three girls. I learned that they could rest more during this period, and there were no subsequent arrangements. So Ma-hu told Tong Huai about the Rural Life variety show, and asked him to ask their agency for their opinions. After all, as an artist who has signed a contract with an agency, some things still need to be explained to the agency. Of course, this also made Ma-hu think that there will always be troubles in the future, so he asked them to consider whether they should set up a company together after the agency contract ends, so that any programs and the like can be arranged, and at the same time, some unnecessary activities and social events can be withdrawn. After thinking about it, the steady Tong Huai said, "It is better to discuss it with everyone after returning. After all, if possible, it is best for everyone to be together, so that everyone's schedule and roles can be arranged." When they got home, Qin Kei and Yu Feihong had prepared food for everyone. After sitting down and eating, Ma-hu told the idea he just thought of on the way at the dinner table. Yu Feihong and Qin Kei both agreed with this. At the same time, Ma-hu said that he was going to change the car at home. There are currently 3 license plate quotas, so everyone should consider it carefully. And Qin Kei said that he could find a way to get a few more license plates, so that there would not be no car available when everyone needs a car. Ma-hu naturally agreed to this, after all, he knew the value of Kyoto license plates in the future, and if he could buy more, he would buy more. This matter was entrusted to Qin Kei and Shen Meiru, who said they had no choice but to do it, and said that this was a gift from the two of them to the other sisters. Anyway, Ma-hu had no money, so it was useless to say anything now. He would wait until he had money and then buy them a new car. After lunch, everyone went to rest, and Ma-hu began to prepare the welcome dinner in the evening. After all, the girls could cook some home-cooked dishes, but Ma-hu was still needed to cook the dinner. Sweet and sour carp, sea cucumber with scallions, braised prawns, mushu pork, stir-fried kidney, 4 happiness meatballs, first-class tofu, flavored eggplant, tomato and egg, smashed cucumber, old vinegar peanuts, vinegar fried cabbage and a large portion of dumpling soup were the main dishes. Ma-hu had put a lot of effort into this meal. Even the simple dumpling soup was made with rich ingredients, which was not comparable to ordinary dumpling soup. After lunch break, the girls gathered on the second floor to watch TV and chat together. After all, there were not many opportunities to chat face-to-face with all the people present. Even Lin Ruyi had a day off today and did not have to be on duty. Ma-hu was cooking while looking at the beautiful women who could be cleaned, each with their own characteristics, and he felt extremely happy. But he had not taken them all yet, so he still needed to work hard. Thinking about the days after crossing over, I wanted to lie down, but I did not lie down for a single day during this period. Instead, I was extremely busy. This was contrary to my ideal. I hope that my days like this can end as soon as possible and realize my ideal sooner. Chapter 15, A Woman Who Outsmarts Herself. Perhaps because this was the first time everyone was together after the bet, everyone was very relaxed that night. It may also be because these women had agreed in the afternoon to play a round robin game with me while drinking. Red, white and beer were served one after another. It seemed like a premeditated attempt to get himself drunk and make a fool of himself. However, the result was that Mahu got all 10 women drunk. Now Mahu can confirm that the physical condition of this body has definitely been greatly improved. After all, according to the original owner's memory and his previous self, neither of them had such a high alcohol tolerance. If I had such a drinking capacity in my previous life, perhaps I wouldn't have traveled through time due to drunkenness. Watching these women fall one by one, Mahu became more and more energetic. It is really like the saying that is often said at the wine table, wine is the essence of grain, the more you drink, the younger you become. Mahu sent the beauties back to their rooms one by one, and even helped them clean up carefully. Yes, Mahu thinks that he is just cleaning, not taking advantage of the situation. It took me 2 hours of hard work to get everything done. At night, Mahu did not continue to sleep in Yu Feihome's room, but went to Kin Kei's room. After all, as the 2 oldest sisters, they should be given priority. Of course, it just means literally, it means sleeping soundly. Even in the middle of the night, when Kin Kei felt dimly that he was in a strong and powerful embrace, he opened his eyes, looked at the familiar face, and then continued to sleep until dawn. When Kin Kei woke up and saw the man in her bed, she felt his body and found nothing unusual except the discomfort from being drunk, so she felt relieved. After all, this little puppy of hers is still very well behaved. At the same time, she also feels a little disappointed that the other party didn't eat her. If she hadn't remembered what Mahu said yesterday morning, Kin Kei might have thought that Mahu had no feelings for her. When Mahu came over, he saw Kin Kei who had been staring at him. He hugged her tightly, kissed her on the forehead, and sat up. After all, according to Yu Feihome's arrangement, I need to go to class today. Today is the class for freshmen and seniors, so I have to get up and go to Beijing Film Academy to continue my auditing career. Seeing Mahu getting up, Kin Kei also sat up and prepared to get up. After Mahu put on his clothes, he gave Kin Kei a passionate kiss and then walked out of the room. He first came to Yu Feihome's room, where Yu Feihome was just getting up. Seeing Mahu coming, I couldn't help but joke. "Little pervert, did you get what you wanted last night?" Mahu came forward and gave her a passionate kiss before explaining. "Is my character so untrustworthy? Or do you have no confidence in your own charm?" Yu Feihome patted Mahu on the head, then got up on his own. Mahu also said, "I'll go check on the others. You guys really tired me out last night." Then Mahu came to Shen Meiru's room without any scruples, gave her a loving kiss, and after checking that everything was fine, he went to other people's rooms. Anyway, this morning was definitely the most rewarding day for Mahu. Because he tried things he had never dared to think of before. Maybe everyone accepted Mahu, so no one resisted his passionate kiss, even Tong Wei, Jiang Shuing and Di Lai, who were doing it for the first time. After doing all this, Mahu simply made some millet porridge and heated up the leftovers as breakfast for the day. After Mahu was done, the 10 girls appeared in the restaurant one after another and happily ate the breakfast made by Mahu. Of course, Mahu didn't specifically mention what happened last night, and they probably could have guessed it. I guess after this time they won't actively try to beat me at the drinking table anymore. After breakfast, those who need to go to work, and those who need to catch up on sleep continue to sleep. Mahu came alone to the freshman classroom where he had attended class last week. The freshmen were quite surprised that Mahu came again. After all, they thought he was just here to play, but they didn't expect him to come here to sit in on the class again today. However, Mahu's main task today was not to attend class, but to continue working on his script. There are many women at home, so Mahu tries his best to accompany them. His TV scripts have basically come to a standstill in the past 2 days. So today he needs to work hard to move it. It's a pity that I can't use a computer, otherwise it would affect others. Otherwise, using a computer might be faster. Mahu can only rely on his hand speed now. Mahu wrote furiously for the whole morning and finished almost 10 episodes of the plot. I went home for lunch at noon and took another blank notebook. In the afternoon, I came to the senior class according to Dilly's introduction. I took a look and there were not many people. I guess some people were taking pictures outside. After looking around, Mahu found 2 familiar people, one was Wu Yang and the other was Zhong Peng. But Mahu did not go forward to say hello. After all, he was not very familiar with them. They had eaten at the original restaurant before, and the relationship between the two of them in their previous life was relatively good. But this doesn't mean you need to do something. After all, I am too busy now. So he continued to work hard in the afternoon, day after day, and Mahu finished the entire plot of the first part of Ode to Joy in 3 days. Then he gave the finished script to Yu Fei-hong and asked her to check it and see if there was anything unclear or not standard. Mahu started moving another work. The second TV drama that Mahu chose was Warrior Assault. It's a pure manly play, and it's also a tribute to the classics of my previous life. At the same time, I also hope that I can achieve something with this drama. Mahu finished the 30-episode plot in 2 days and then handed it over to Yu Fei-hong. Those who are capable should do more work. This was the excuse Mahu made when he complained to Fei-hong. It is really unknown whether this was Mahu's revenge on Yu Fei-hong for arranging classes for him. Both days of the weekend are planned. On Saturday I will discuss cooperation with people from Mango TV, and on Sunday I will discuss cooperation with people from Blue Channel. It can be said that everything is arranged very fully. The good news is that the negotiations over the past 2 days have been very smooth. Pastoral Life no longer requires investment from himself, Huang Lei, and He Ling. The domestic copyright has been acquired by Mango TV, which sells it for 7 million yuan plus 10% of advertising revenue. Of course, he also receives a salary of 1 million yuan per season, and Tong Wei also receives a salary of 2 million yuan. The domestic copyright of Where Are We Going, Dad is worth 5 million, as well as 5% of advertising revenue. The domestic copyright of Flowers in the Sky is 6 million, plus 5% of the film remuneration and the right to allocate all the guest spots for the first season. There was a reason why they offered so much. Mahu threw out the idea of Hua Restaurant, which had not been written yet, and the other party booked it for 5 million yuan. There is no rush for this idea. According to the framework agreement, Mahu will be able to come up with it in the first half of next year. So on Saturday alone, Mahu earned 23 million from the 4 variety show ideas. After deducting taxes and the money that needs to be paid to Shen Meiru, he could still earn more than 15 million. On Sunday, the negotiations with Blue Channel were also smooth in the initial stage, with a phenomenal rush. The domestic copyright was directly increased to 10 million, plus 5% of advertising revenue and 2 places for group members. The price of The Voice of China is also 10 million, 10% of the advertising revenue. There is also a trump card framework agreement, worth 6 million. In 2 days, Mahu finally harvested more than 30 million. Shen Meiru also received nearly 5 million in consulting fees. It can be said that Shen Meiru is now a small wealthy woman. This made her so happy that she decided on the spot to go shopping with her sisters next weekend. The standard was that each person had a budget of 300,000 yuan. If it weren't for paying taxes, this woman would probably dare to give each person 500,000 yuan. In Mahu's opinion, this woman is really a spendthrift. Wouldn't it be better for him to use the money to buy Bitcoin? On Sunday night, the 10 women began the 3-court trial model. As for the content of the trial, it was naturally about the use of the more than 30 million yuan. Looking at those pairs of green eyes, I wish I could eat my own eyes. Mahu gave in as quickly as possible. My dear beautiful sisters, I have a use for this money, so you can't hand it over. Otherwise, how can I earn enough money to take away your money? So what are you going to do with all this? It seems we forgot to ask you where your money went before. In the end, I'm the one who gives you the money to spend. Qin Kei said with a straight face. Sister, I used it for investment. It's a big deal. If I hadn't discovered it too late, I would have been a billionaire by now. So much money. Are you doing something illegal? How is that possible? Even if I don't do it for myself, I have to think about you beautiful and kind sisters first. Then tell me about your investment. I bought Bitcoin. Bitcoin? You want to die? How do you make this kind of investment? This is what Shen Meiru said. It seems that she knows about this kind of investment. Yes, I already have 100,000 coins. I decided to buy another 400,000 coins, but I don't know if I can buy so many in the market. But the risk is too great. It seems like you are really a gambler. Others gamble, but I don't. I can definitely make money and marry you guys sooner. Shen Meiru covered her forehead with her hands, not knowing what to say. Qin Kei and others probably didn't know what Bitcoin was, so they took out their phones to look it up. After seeing the introduction, I was confused, but I knew it was not very reliable because it felt virtual. So everyone wants to organize Mahu. Mahu said, I have decided. I will be at ease if I marry you beauty sooner. Besides, even if I marry you, I will still have film pay, advertising income, and other creative ideas and scripts, right? The girls felt that it was indeed true after hearing this, and no one objected anymore. This ensures that next week's investment plan for Mahu will proceed smoothly. However, Mahu's investment plan was not very smooth. His large-scale acquisitions have caused the price to rise slightly higher than the original time and space. At the same time, there is a reluctance to sell in the market. Chapter 16 National Day Self-Driving Tour 1. In the end, Mahu only bought 300,000 coins before National Day. However, according to the prices at the end of next year and the beginning of 2014, if I sell all the 400,000 coins I have, my assets are expected to reach $250 million. Enough to complete the bet. During the National Day holiday, Shen Meiru's original plan for spending was not fulfilled, and in the end they could only arrange a trip together during the National Day holiday. During this period, Mahu has also completed the 80-episode sitcom Willeen Biechuan, Kyoto Love Story, Hua Restaurant, which will be delivered next year, and even wrote the big screen Crazy Stone and The Richest Man in Shihong City. Mahu's high productivity has made Yu Feihong fully aware of his talent. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that all this is due to the fact that Mahu is a time traveler. This made Yu Feihong believe that what she and her sisters did was right. The 10 sisters sacrificed themselves to save a genius in the Chinese entertainment industry. During these days of contact, Mahu also slept in the same bed with these beauties, the only difference was that he did not cross the bottom line. This makes Mahu enjoy all the blessings of the world. By the time of National Day, Mahu still had more than 10 million yuan in his hands, minus the money he spent on buying Bitcoin. Mahu decided to put buying a car on the agenda. During this period, Qin Kei and Shen Meiru obtained 10 license plate indicators and they could directly register the car as soon as it arrived. Mahu collected everyone's ideas and these 10 license plates were directly registered to each person. It's no problem to buy a car worth around 1 million for each person. The 7 cars were basically bought according to the standards of high-end business cars. After all, they can be used for both transportation and as nanny cars. The only problem is that the cars are a bit large and it is not convenient for girls to drive. But there was a solution. Qin Kei, Shen Meiru and Lin Ruyi chose BMW Mini. Mahu thought about it and replaced his 3 old cars with Beetles, so that Yu Feihong and his 7 daughters would also have cars to use at home. After buying 13 cars at one time, Mahu became a pauper again. After Shen Meiru found out, she generously transferred 300,000 yuan to Mahu. They also stated that the money was the support fee given to him by their sisters. This gave Mahu an opportunity to severely punish Shen Meiru at night, causing Shen Meiru to not dare to say a word the next day, and her eyes were full of resentment every time she looked at Mahu. The 500,000 yuan also solved Mahu's urgent needs. At least I don't have to be short of money to spend, I can only blame myself for spending money too lavishly. Perhaps this has something to do with the fact that I was too poor in my previous life. You should know that when he received the copyright fee, he not only transferred 5 million to Shen Meiru, Qin Kei gave him living expenses, but Mahu also directly transferred 200,000 to him. The others received 100,000 each, and now 1 million is gone. Then he bought bitcoins and cars, 13 at a time, to spend as much as he could. During the 8-day National Day holiday, Mahu and others also arranged their itinerary. With this amount of money, they planned to go to Xinjiang together to see the beautiful scenery and taste the delicious food. At the same time, since they have a car, Mahu and his friends decided to go on a self-driving tour this time. Naturally, everyone has no objection to this. Mahu originally wanted to find a few more companions. After all, it was a bit dangerous for him to be a man alone with a pair of women. But after thinking about it, I couldn't find a particularly good friend that I could remember. The original owner was really a bit lonely. Mahu couldn't help but wonder whether he should get a role in a warrior assault and find some brothers to work with and make some friends for fun. However, when Mahu thought of this, he felt like he was crazy. He actually had the tendency to actively look for work to do. This was not right. But we can wait and see, after all, we don't know whether the original cast will be there in this time and space. Early in the morning on the first day of National Day, Mahu set off with 10 women in 3 GMCs. Mahu led the way, the second car was driven by Qin Kei, and the third was driven by Yu Feihong. At the same time, camping tents, cooking utensils and self-defense supplies are also prepared. Mahu and his friends have already decided that this trip will start from when they enter Inner Mongolia. The main purpose is to have fun. They are not pursuing speed or goals for the day. They will go wherever they can and stop to appreciate beautiful scenery when they come across it. Of course, these demands were put forward by Mahu. After all, only Mahu, who just wants to lie down, could put forward such demands. For this purpose, Mahu did a lot of work for the girls before they agreed to his idea. What Mahu didn't know was that the reason the girls agreed was just a sentence from Mahu. Take the right person with you and pay attention to every beautiful scenery along the way. When you look back, you will find that you are also an indispensable part of this beautiful scenery and also the most beautiful memory of our future journey. This sentence almost made Jin Chen and Lin Rui, who had shallow eye sockets, cry. That afternoon, according to Mahu's plan, everyone came to the grassland Sky Road. Then we started to rest at the end of the Sky Road and then prepared to appreciate the scenery of the grassland Sky Road. The grassland in the clear and crisp autumn weather has unique scenery, whether it is the grey mountains in the distance or the windmills standing in the distance. They all make people feel relaxed and happy. Going further, at the junction of coniferous forest and deciduous forest, leaves of various colors alternate and echo each other, which is beautiful. This kind of beautiful scenery is definitely worth stopping to appreciate. At the same time, many beautiful photos were also left behind. After leaving the grassland Sky Road, Mahu and others continued to head northwest, and their destination was naturally Zhongbei grassland. The sun had already set, and by the time we found a place to camp, it was already dark. Mahu chose a place, and as soon as the headlights of the 3 cars were turned on, Mahu and everyone started to set up camp. For safety reasons, Mahu and his friends only set up one tent and lived together so that they could take care of each other if anything happened. Mahu worked very efficiently. In less than half an hour, the tent had been set up and the stove was lit. The youngest two, Guli and Dilly, helped Mahu cook, while the others went into the tent to rest first. After all, the day's journey was not easy. Especially Qin Kei, Yu Feihong, Shen Meiru and Zhong Shuang, they took turns driving and were highly concentrated, which made them physically and mentally exhausted. Mahu didn't feel anything and looked like nothing had happened. After Mahu finished cooking, he called everyone out to eat and look at the starry sky. That kind of scene is rarely seen in the city. In order to let everyone have a good sleep, Mahu specially took out 2 bottles of red wine and distributed them to everyone, so that everyone could rest as soon as possible after drinking them. Although everyone looked tired, they were in good spirits. Mahu took out the fireworks he bought on the road. Small fireworks were distributed to the girls, and at the same time, a dozen larger fireworks were arranged in a line in the distance. Mahu, with the daring Di Li, lit the fireworks with Zhong Shuang this morning. Suddenly, bright flowers bloomed in the sky, setting off the stars in the sky. Let the atmosphere on the scene be full. When the fireworks in the sky faded away, the girls happily began to light the small fireworks in their hands. At this time, everyone put down their work and worries. Now everyone is filled with joy and happiness. After everyone was happy and had enough food and drink, Mahu asked the girls to go into the tent to rest. He cleaned up the mess himself. Then he also went into the house to rest. Looking at the beauties lying in the tent, Mahu smiled very proudly. Of course, this pride was just happiness. The next day, Mahu, who was sleeping at the entrance of the tent, got up early and prepared a pot of millet porridge, then divided it into 12 portions and prepared it for everyone as breakfast. Of course, there was also bread prepared in advance. Ma Lake did not make everyone get up very early. After all, we were going to Chao Lake and Chilichuan today. It is expected that we will be able to visit 2 attractions today. During this time, Mahu also prepared hot water for everyone to drink on the road. When the millet porridge reached the right temperature, Mahu called everyone together. Let everyone eat first and then wash up. Chapter 17 National Day Self-Driving Tour 2. Everyone smiled at each other when they saw how considerate Mahu was. After Qin Kei finished eating, he came to Mahu and kissed her on the cheek. With the big sister taking the lead, the sisters behind her also learned from her. After eating, they would walk to Mahu and give him a kiss. This made Mahu even more excited, even though this was not the first time. At 8 o'clock in the morning, Mahu and others set off on time. Although the grassland along the way has turned yellow, the scene still makes people feel happy. It took 2 hours to reach Lake Cha. Everyone got off the bus to rest, sightsee, and finally took photos and checked in. Mahu also took everyone to buy some local specialties. That solves the lunch problem. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Mahu and others continued their journey to Kailachuan. We arrived at Kailachuan at around 4:30, and this time we didn't have to set up the tent in the dark like we did yesterday. Mahu first chose a place to set up camp, a large tent, and then everyone watched the sunset at the scenic spot together. Then we bought some local beef and mutton and made grilled skewers from Mahu. On the second day of the trip, everyone was still living in harmony and there was no dissatisfaction or resistance between each other. This shows that everyone gets along very well. On the third day, Mahu and others visited the Hatau cultural tourism area and saw the big words on the Yellow River. We camped at Dongfeng Aerospace City that day. Although the scenery here is not as beautiful as the grassland, it is also interesting. That night, Mahu and others sat in the tent and played Shandong's Guja cards. After all, 2 of the 10 women were from Dongshan, and Mahu was also good at it in his previous life. Everyone had fun in the tent until midnight. On the 4th day, Mahu prepared to take everyone directly to Turpan, Xinjiang. Whether it is cantaloupe, grapes or raisins, they are all desired by everyone. After 2 days of fun in Xinjiang, it's time to return to Beijing. Since the journey was a bit far, Mahu and others set off very early, but fortunately the time difference between Xinjiang and Kyoto is quite large. No need to worry about walking at night. Following Mahu in the car today are Tong Wei, Jin Chen and Jiang Shuyin. Mahu looked at Tong Wei sitting in the passenger seat and couldn't help but joke. "Yaya, we have come to your hometown now. Shouldn't you, Dilly and Guli, show your hospitality as hosts?" Yaya, who is usually dignified and steady, immediately picked up the walkie-talkie and started calling after hearing this. Mahu was stunned at first, then he started laughing. Dilly and Guli and the other 2 cars responded immediately after hearing the call. "Yaya, our little Mahu said that we have arrived in Xinjiang, so we 3 can play the role of host. Can you 2 see how we 3 can arrange for our little Mahu and the other sisters? Dilly, let him buy us a whole plate of cakes. Guli, 1 roasted whole lamb, 1 roasted whole cow, and 1 roasted camel. How about Mr. Ma paying for it?" Immediately, voices of approval from people in each car came from the radio. Mahu didn't expect the situation to take a turn for the worse. He asked the 3 of them to play the role of host, but ended up paying the bill. Mahu grabbed the radio and said, "Are you guys really that excessive? You are the landlord, why are you asking me to pay? You want a plate of chaga. 1 is a roasted whole lamb, the other is a roasted whole cow, and you want a roasted camel. Are you pigs?" As a result, somehow Guli became smart this time and directly transmitted her sweet voice through the walkie-talkie. "Brother Ma, you are my future husband. You don't pay the bill but ask us to pay it. Are you still a man? Dilly, Brother Ma, you have to correct your attitude. You should know that what's yours is ours and what's ours is still ours." Well, Dilly also summarized Guli's words and this summary hit the nail on the head. At the same time, the laughter of the girls came from the radio. Mahu never dared to cause trouble again. "I just asked, Xinjiang has grapes, raisins, hammy melons, Kuel pears, Aksu apples, mixed noodles, pilaf, and the ones that Dilly and Gula just mentioned. Is there anything else delicious? Since we are here once, how about we try them all? Little foodie this morning, but we only have 2 days, how can we have such a big appetite? Mahu, it's okay. We can take some fruits back to eat, but we must taste the pilaf, noodles and the like. You know, we brought 3 cars this time and there is still plenty of space to put things, so there is no need to worry about this." Then he turned to look at Tong Wei. "Yaya, you, Dilly and Guli should make a list now and we can buy the things we can bring back on the last day. Including some other specialties, put all the ones you want on the list and also the traditional dishes that are better, we all want to try them, it's not easy to get such an opportunity, we must come and have fun, how about it?" The other 2 cars also heard what Mahu said to Yaya through Yaya's walkie-talkie. Then the 3 Xinjiang locals and others began to count. They also like such things. After all, no woman can resist delicious food and shopping. In the end, everyone listed dozens of items, from delicacies to local specialties. Mahu felt a headache after hearing this. After all, if he really wanted to do everything, it seemed that he might not be able to do it in 2 days. At the same time, some local specialties may not be available in all of Turpan and Urumqi alone. In the end, everyone decided to buy whatever they could, and at the same time, they would visit the Grand Bazaar in Urumqi to see if they could buy something that they couldn't buy in Turpan. At noon, we found a service area, had lunch together, and then continued on our journey. On the way, Yaya wanted to take over Mahu's driving, but was rejected by Mahu. After all, who among these 10 women can match my endurance and physical strength? The journey was smooth and we finally arrived at Turpan town at 12 o'clock in the evening. This time, Mahu and his companions did not continue camping, but found a hotel to stay in. Since there were too many women in their group, Mahu only booked 6 standard rooms so that everyone could wash up and rest well. Mahu chose the one on the outside, and Wade was guarding everyone well. Along the way, Mahu's performance has made everyone very satisfied. Wasn't there a saying circulating on the internet in the past life, you can tell whether a boyfriend and girlfriend are suitable for each other by going on a trip together? This shows that the fatigue during travel can sometimes magnify the trivial conflicts and problems between lovers. We all remember clearly how Mahu took care of and protected us along the way. So basically everyone had no complaints or dissatisfaction along the way. In the evening, after washing up, everyone lay in bed and talked to each other about their feelings over the past few days. This trip is actually more like a run-in for everyone since signing the bet. Even between them, there was no unpleasantness during this trip. I have to say that Mahu makes everyone satisfied. Mahu, who was alone in a room, went to bed after washing up. He will continue tomorrow and he doesn't plan to rest for too long, just a short nap will be enough. An hour later he opened the door a crack, and whenever he heard a noise in the corridor he would get up to check. In this way, Mahu persisted until dawn. Even so, his mental state was still good. I took everyone to wash up and eat, and then headed straight to the Flaming Mountain. Then we had lunch. We ordered several kinds of rice and shared the different flavors. Then we bought what fruits and specialties we could. At around 10 o'clock in the evening, Mahu and his group came to the Grand Bazaar in Urumqi and stayed nearby. They will prepare to continue purchasing early tomorrow morning, go to Chanshan in the afternoon and return to Urumqi in the evening. The schedule for the whole day is still very tight. Chapter 18 National Day Self-Driving Tour 3. Early in the morning on the 5th day, everyone tasted the local breakfast nearby and then headed to the Grand Bazaar. Along the way, the 10 women whispered to each other, talking about the goods they wanted to purchase. Although the Grand Bazaar has become a check-in spot, some things can still be bought there. Besides, there is a wholesale market not far from the Grand Bazaar. However, Mahu and others' plan was ultimately not carried out. After all, the bus was really too big. It took most of the day to browse around the Grand Bazaar alone, which directly led to the afternoon trip to Chanshan Mountains having to be postponed to tomorrow. But in Mahu's opinion, as long as everyone is happy, that's all. So Mahu positions himself today as a porter and a praise observer. Everyone wants Mahu to appreciate and comment on the short videos they buy. At first Mahu looked at it and commented on it seriously, but later on the style of painting became a little weird. After all, there are 10 women and each of them wants to get Mahu's best quality, which makes Mahu too busy to handle it. As a result, whenever Mahu saw them holding something, he would say, "It looks good, not bad, I'll buy it." Of course, the consequence of doing this is that I have more and more things in my hands, such as accessories, clothes, essential oils, small toys, and even a big bag of wolfberries and cistanches. Mahu just wanted to know who bought these things and who they were going to be used for. I'm still a novice, how can I possibly use these? From 10 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, we didn't even have lunch and just kept walking around. Mahu delivered things to the hotel 3 times. But there is no easy way around it. Going shopping with so many beauties is something that others cannot get even if they want it. What's more, Mahu has nothing else but his strength. It's just that Mahu is a little dissatisfied. Of course, it's not that he is not satisfied with the current situation, but he is not satisfied with why he does not have the same storage space as other time travelers. In that case, I can go shopping with them to my heart's content. After visiting the Grand Bazaar, Mahu took everyone to find a store with good reputation, and then they began to rest and eat. After all, they still had to go to the wholesale market to buy things later. Mahu planned to buy some dried fruits and things that he didn't buy in Turpan there. Looking at the 10 girls who looked a little tired, Mahu felt a little distressed. After all, it had been 5 days in a row and they didn't have the same physique as him. They must be very tired now. Are you tired today? If not, you can go back to the hotel and rest. I will go buy it myself and ask them to deliver it to me. If there are good things, I will take pictures and send them to the group for you to choose. Everyone looked at each other and were a little hesitant. Mahu had to find a way out for them. It's okay, don't worry, I can do it. Also, you need to save your energy for tomorrow. After all, we are going to climb Chanshan Mountain tomorrow, which is a physically demanding job. If 1 or 2 of you can't walk anymore, I can carry you, but if all of you are exhausted, then I can't help you. Mahu's words completely dispelled their thoughts. In the end, only Jinchen and Mahu went together. After dinner, when everyone was going home, Mahu reminded them to lock the door and be careful about safety. Then Mahu and Jinchen drove directly to the wholesale market. Try before you buy. This morning I was responsible for taking photos and communicating with the other girls. Finally, Mahu considered the space in the vehicle and decided to buy 200 kilograms of each item, carry some in his own car, and pack the rest together at the end, and then ask the seller to find a logistics company to ship them to Kyoto. After all, the National Day passed just like that. I didn't have any family, but these 10 women of mine did. I have taken up their time, and if I don't show any appreciation for it, wouldn't that be too selfish of me? Although I bought some gifts for others during my previous shopping trip, they were not my own gifts after all. And these dried fruits seemed to be just right for Mahu now. So, Mahu and Jin Chen went to the market as if they were purchasing goods, purchasing several tons of supplies, and even the sellers in the market thought they were there to purchase goods. The shopping lasted for 3 hours and ended only when the market closed. Even the food that Mahu and Jin Chen brought back for 40 to 50 kilograms for tasting weighed about 40 to 50 kilograms, which shows how crazy their purchases were this time. The 9 women in the hotel had no idea, only Jin Chen understood how much they had bought. Judging from the situation this morning, it seems likely that Mahu's money has been spent again. So as soon as the 2 of them got back to eating, they transferred another 100,000 yuan to Mahu this morning. This was transferred from the spending limit that Shen Meiru transferred to him. After all, she is still a student, how can she have so much money? Mahu was stunned when he saw the transfer notification, then looked at Jin Chen. He didn't say anything, just held Jin Chen's little head and started biting it wildly. Jin Chen was very cooperative in this regard and was very happy in his heart. After a long time, Mahu and Jin Chen separated, and Mahu didn't say much. After all, in his opinion, talking about this kind of thing too much would be pretentious. It is better to be genuinely nice to them. After returning to the hotel, Jin Chen went upstairs to call people, while Mahu learned about the most distinctive restaurant nearby through the hotel front desk and prepared to take everyone there for dinner. At the same time, I asked if there was a place near Chanshan Mountains where I could roast camels. After all, this thing is hard to find in other places. Unexpectedly, I actually found one and asked the hotel to help me reserve a meal for tomorrow afternoon. I plan to eat there after climbing the mountain. Food is indispensable to Mahu because in his opinion, the meaning of travel lies in scenery and food. Even if there is no scenery, delicious food is essential, especially the food he has never eaten before, he wants to try it. The 10 girls naturally had no objection to this, after all, there were quite a few foodies here. Everyone enjoyed the meal and was naturally in a good mood, so they went back to have a good sleep. Continue with tomorrow's mountain climbing mission. Before going to bed, Mahu went to each room one by one and took the opportunity to take advantage of them under the pretext of giving them a goodnight kiss. The 10 girls were still a little awkward. After all, for safety reasons, they were all staying in pairs in a room. However, whenever Mahu finds someone taking advantage of the opportunity to cause trouble, he will increase the punishment. Anyway, Mahu was feeling very proud when he went to bed. On the 6th day of the holiday, after many hardships and dangers, Mahu and others climbed up the Chanshan Mountains near noon. Mahu took everyone around to tour, take photos, and appreciate the scenery of snow-capped mountains and volcanic rocks. Since we were already here, there was no need to rush. After all, dinner had been booked, so we could just go there after we got down the mountain. At the same time, take a short break. Even if there is a cable car, you still need to walk if you need to. So everyone still needs to take a break to restore their physical strength. After going down the mountain, Mahu drove in front to lead the way. We soon arrived at the barbecue restaurant. The weather at this time of year is still very comfortable. Even in the northwest weather at night, you can just put on a coat. After everyone sat down, they all looked towards Mahu. After all, it was Mahu who brought them here, and they also wanted to know how Mahu arranged everything. He had said on the way that it was a secret, and they refused to tell anyone no matter how they were threatened. Guli, brother Ma, are you planning to treat us to a roasted whole lamb? Why roast a whole lamb? Tonight we are going to have roasted Guli. Look, our Guli is so delicate and pretty. She is absolutely a feast for the eyes. Don't you think so? Knowing that Mahu was joking, Shenmeiru also joined in the fun. Yeah, I haven't eaten human flesh yet. Brother Hu, don't we need to strip Guli naked and wash her first? After all, no matter how beautiful she is, she's bound to have some dirt on her body. Dilly even came up to join in the fun and said, well, I can prove that Ji Yushin's body is really dirty. It usually takes half an hour to scrub it when taking a shower. Guli was so angry when she heard this. Although she knew they were joking with her, she was not happy when Dilly and Shenmeiru said she was dirty. However, she did not dare to deal with them, so she could only vent her anger on Mahu. He pounced on Mahu and beat him. Mahu can only be said to have tied himself up in a cocoon and has to bear his own suffering on his own. It was tiring enough to be on the mountain today, and this ordeal made Guli so tired that she lay on Mahu and couldn't get up. Not long after we sat down, the roasted camel was brought up by 4 people. Looking at this posture, everyone thought it was a cow. However, when the red cloth was lifted, everyone discovered that it was actually a camel. Even Dilly, Guli and Tongwaye had rarely seen roasted camels. Everyone exclaimed in surprise, and Jin Chen and Dilly, 2 foodies, quickly gathered around the roasted camel, rubbing their hands together. Seeing the greedy looks of the 2, Mahu put Guli on the chair and went to the car to get some drinks. After all, he had to drive soon and couldn't drink any alcohol. Safety first. There are so many women, I can't let them be in danger. After distributing the drinks to everyone, Mahu took the knife and started to distribute the meat to everyone. Come on, let's eat. This is probably the last big meal we'll have in Xinjiang during this trip. Everyone didn't hesitate, perhaps because they were really hungry, and started eating together. The taste is not bad, and everyone is eating while chatting. Little pony, give me a piece of meat. After a while, someone from the other side said, Brother Ma, the drinks are gone. Mahu has completely become a slave to this group of women. Only at this moment did Mahu truly understand what happiness and pain were. But Mahu did not refute, but just kept on doing PUA himself. It's not shameful to love your own woman. Mahu was busy for almost an hour before he could finally relax. Without having to serve these ladies, Mahu can enjoy the food slowly. As a result, before she had taken 2 bites, Shen Meiru started to act up. It was stronger than the boning knife in Mahu's hand. He cut off a piece of meat and fed it directly into Mahu's mouth, a mouthful of meat. Mahu almost choked. However, before Mahu finished eating, the other women picked up their knives and started cutting the meat. After cutting the meat, he held the meat in one hand and the knife in the other and handed them to Mahu. It seemed as if Mahu was going to use a knife if he didn't eat it, so Mahu quickly stood up and took a few steps back. He was still mumbling, My dear wives, I know you love me to death, but can we take it slow? Don't we always say that we should eat 1 bite at a time? Everyone laughed again when they saw Mahu's appearance. His cheeky look was really funny. It has to be said that Mahu now plays the victim whenever he can, and acts mean whenever he can, with the main goal of pleasing others. In the end, the women withdrew their hands, but after Mahu finished eating the meat in his mouth, Kincaid was the first to step forward and put the meat in her hand into Mahu's mouth. Then, after watching Mahu finish eating all the meat in his mouth, Yu Feihong also leaned over and fed the meat in his hand into Mahu's mouth. Just like that, only after everyone did this was Mahu released. However, after Mahu finished eating Tong Wai's meat, no one cared about her anymore, and she suddenly felt unsatisfied. He looked at the girls who were happily chatting and said, Sisters, shouldn't we start and end this? You guys are making me feel very disappointed. Chapter 19 Returning to Kyoto, the faceless Mahu. The girls were stunned when they heard this, but Shen Meiru, who was the first to react, picked up a knife, cut off a large piece of meat from the camel and prepared to stuff it into Mahu's mouth. This frightened Mahu, and he jumped away quickly. How could he put such a piece of meat as big as a fist into his mouth? Wouldn't it break his mouth? Sister Meiru, I don't want you to feed me anymore. Let's not do this. Just keep playing. Just keep playing tilde tilde tilde. Didn't you want us to feed you? Why don't you want us to feed you? I've already cut the meat. Mahu pointed at the piece of meat in Shen Meiru's hand and said, Sister Meiru, we can't play like this. Do you want to murder your husband? This piece of meat is as big as a stick. If you stuff it into my mouth, won't it burst my mouth? The other girls were also unhappy when they heard this. What do you mean? Can this little thing burst your mouth? Haven't you ever put yourself in our shoes and thought about our mouths? The first one to jump out was the confused Guli. Mahu really didn't know how this confused kid could say such vicious words. Seeing the indignant looks of the women, Mahu knew that he had to eat it. In order to suffer less, he simply snatched the piece of meat from Shen Meiru's hand and started eating it in big mouthfuls. This would at least be much more comfortable than having Shen Meiru stuff such a large piece of meat into your mouth. Mahu said as he ate, Are you all full? If you are, shouldn't we leave? We should return tomorrow. 2 days is not a lot of time. Although everyone felt that this should be an excuse made by Mahu, they could not find any reason to object. Finally, I packed up and prepared to go back to the hotel. Mahu decided to stop while he was ahead. There is meat in my mouth and a lot of work in my hands. I went to the front desk to pay the bill first, then asked for a lunch box, preparing to take some food back home. After all, I was not really full. Ask the waiter to pack some for you and leave the rest for the restaurant waiter. Around 11 o'clock in the evening, Mahu and his companions finally returned to the hotel. Another day is coming to an end. Remove makeup, wash up, and get ready for bed. Now the daily goodnight kiss has become a must-have item in Mahu. These past few days, no one felt as embarrassed as before. It took half an hour to process all 10 beauties one by one. Fortunately, washing in Mahu is not that troublesome and doesn't take long. After a good night's sleep, everyone got up very late the next day and had breakfast around 12 o'clock. After the meal, everyone started their return journey without much delay. On the way back, everyone was tired, as this was already the 7th day. So except for the one who was driving, most of the others were resting. Even if they had slept well the previous night, they were not in the mood to continue enjoying the scenery along the way. In order to be able to return smoothly and avoid traffic jams, Mahu and others also chose to travel overnight, otherwise it would be really uncomfortable if they were stuck in traffic on the last day of the holiday. After rushing for a long time, the group finally returned to their home in Kyoto at noon on the 8th day. It can be said that this trip was very rewarding. It not only promoted the harmony of this big family, but also brought Mahu and the girls closer together. We had a quick lunch at noon and everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Mahu went to Tom Wai's room. He hadn't slept with his woman in his arms for more than a week. Mahu really missed her a little, even if they had to sleep in plain clothes. When Mahu came to Yaya's room, Yaya was lying on the bed playing with her mobile phone. Mahu lay down beside Yaya and watched her play with her mobile phone. It turned out that Yaya was preparing to post a circle of friends about this trip and was selecting photos to form a 9-square grid. Is it so difficult to choose a photo? Every photo of my Yaya is beautiful. That's different. Look at the photos posted by other sisters. I can't let them outshine me. Mahu was also stunned when he heard this. Why? Did they send it too? Yes, not only did I post it on WeChat Moments, I also posted it on Weibo. Okay, I'll take a look at what they sent, too. Well, go check it out, you'll definitely like it. Looking at Yaya's expression, Mahu was a little puzzled. However, Mahu immediately took out his mobile phone and started to look through it. He first looked at the moments. After all, there were relatively few people in his green bubble, so it was much easier than looking through Weibo. Besides, it seems that I don't even have a Weibo account. It would have been better if Mahu didn't open his moments, but after seeing it, he almost fainted from anger. Because the photos in these women's circle of friends are arranged in a uniform 9-square grid, each one is beautiful. The first row is all beautiful landscape photos and the bottom row is a group photo of the 10 women together. The 2 photos in the second row are each person's personal photos and the photo in the middle is a photo of Mahu, but the faces of everyone in the photo of Mahu placed in the middle are blurred. Mahu looked at Yaya and said, "You guys can understand it, but why did Sister Kei and the other 3 also mosaic my face? Isn't this a bit too much?" Yaya just covered her mouth and laughed. Then Mahu downloaded Weibo, registered an account, and started searching for their Weibo accounts. Except for Kin Kei and Lin Rui, the other 8 people had them. It turned out that the Weibo posts posted by the 8 of them were the same as those in their moments, except that the photos were changed, but the photo in the middle remained the same. Seeing this, Mahu immediately wanted to get up and teach these women a lesson. However, he was pulled back by Yaya. "Why are you so angry? Isn't this just to prevent you from being exposed so early? Although this reason is valid, what you did was still a bit too much, so I have to punish you, starting with you." As he spoke, Mahu and Yaya started to play around. "You tickled me and I pinched your tender flesh." Finally, Mahu resorted to the same more evil punishment method as before. In the end, the 2 of them didn't rest until dinner time. Naturally, Mahu still prepared dinner, but Yaya was unable to enjoy it because she could hardly open her mouth. The others were curious because they didn't see Yaya while eating. They knew that Mahu was in her room at noon, so they all turned their eyes to Mahu. Mahu naturally planned to take advantage of Kiao by taking advantage of the opportunity. "Yaya. She can't come. Don't think I don't know what you did. This seriously hurt my young heart, so she will be the first one to be punished. After that, none of you will be able to escape." "Shinmeiru, brother who, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand you?" The other women also echoed. "Don't you know what you did? I'm so embarrassed, why do you think so? Haha tilde 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 tilde." Guli was the first to laugh out loud. Yu Fei-hong also smiled and said, "Hootie, do you want to save face? Aren't you afraid that their fans will beat you up every time they see you?" After hearing what Yu Fei-hong said, Ma Hu originally wanted to start the mocking mode. In the end, in order to make himself feel better, Ma Hu suppressed the urge to commit suicide. Okay, you win. I'll give you face and won't pursue the matter for bullying me." In fact, what Ma Hu didn't know was that these women who posted on WeChat Moments and Weibo were subjected to various inquiries from their families and friends shortly after posting on WeChat Moments. They were devastated and they were regretting why they posted the photos of Ma Hu. Perhaps it is the woman's selfish desires that are causing trouble. After the meal, Ma Hu took some food to Tong Wai's room, but Tong Wai said she didn't want to eat anything. Ma Hu had no choice but to take it away again. Before leaving, Tong Wai actually locked the door after Ma Hu went out, which made Ma Hu depressed. "I originally wanted to sleep with Tong Wai, but it turned out that she didn't need me anymore." Ma Hu thought about it, put down the meal in his hand, and then watched TV with everyone in the living room. At this time, Ma Hu remembered that tomorrow was the day to go to work, and he seemed to need to start preparing the filming team of Ode to Joy and the filming location of Pastoral Life. In order to be lazy, Ma Hu decided to divide the work into parts. He only had to choose the filming location for the Pastoral Life and let Yu Fei-hong help find people to do the rest. Arrangements after Chapter 20. Sister Fei-hong, should we put our drama Ode to Joy on the shooting schedule? We need to start shooting after the Spring Festival at the latest, right? Otherwise, our scripts will be idle this year. If I wasn't worried about you guys working too hard, I would have wanted to shoot Legend of Sword and Fairy together. This drama will definitely be more popular than Ode to Joy. Then why not just shoot Wu Lin Bijuan? Ma Hu thought about it and felt that it was not impossible. Then how do we distribute the roles? I hope that if I can choose among you, it would be better to choose the female roles in the play, even if they are supporting roles. I have to say that Ma Hu still knows how to speak at critical moments. All the beauties looked at Ma Hu with their bright eyes, making Ma Hu feel embarrassed. "Don't look at me like that. After all, you will be my women in the future. How can it be so ungrateful?" Yu Fei-hong was recalling the plot of Wu Lin Bijuan, and soon she opened her cherry lips. "Let me play Yang and I. How about Shuang playing Feong? Let Chen play Wuxuan. As for Huilan, I think Shuing should play it." After Ma Hu thought about it, he felt that this was actually the same. However, to be frank, his 10 wives were all the same type of beauties in terms of appearance. However, in order to give resources to his own people, Ma Hu felt that Yu Fei-hong's current arrangement was the most appropriate. "Okay, let's arrange it this way. I have confidence in Sister Fei-hong. Where are the director, the male leads, and the investment? Director, can you see if there is a director named Shang Jing? I am not very familiar with your circle. You can choose the male lead after you find the director. As for the investment." After Ma Hu thought about it, he felt that this was indeed a problem. "How much money can you afford? Do you want to participate? Brother Hu, you actually want to get something for nothing. This is Shen Meiru destroying her own show. Didn't I provide the script? And I just want you to earn some extra pocket money." Ma Hu said aggrievedly. Qin Kai said, "In this case, you might as well set up a company so that it will be easier to distribute the funds when the time comes." Ma Hu thought that this was indeed the case, but he decided to provide the company's startup capital himself. However, he had no money now, so this was really too difficult. No wonder there is an old saying that goes, "A man with money is a man without money is a man." Let's put off setting up the company for a while. If you have money, you can invest. If you don't have money, forget it. We need to have a company, but I'm going to pay for it, and then you can split the shares equally. In the future, the profits from my creations will be managed through this company, and I will also share the profits with you equally. Think of it as my pocket money for you, how do you think? Yu Fei-hong looked at Ma Hu and said, "Don't brag too much, you are short of money every day, and you are going to invest in our company. Don't push yourself too hard. We sisters know your intentions." "Sister, what are you talking about? Look at Guli, Dilly, and Jin Chen. They don't have any money. Even if you are the one who gave them the fragrance, they probably wouldn't accept it. So I will pay for the company, and you will split the shares equally. All my women can get a share, how about that?" Ma Hu's words were very touching, especially for the girls who had no savings. Yu Fei-hong thought about it and realized that it was indeed the case. "This plan is good, but what about you? Don't you need money?" Ma Hu came forward and hugged Yu Fei-hong. "My dear wife, haven't you heard that men become bad when they have money? Why do I need so much money? Besides, my money will be beyond your imagination in the future. Yu Feihong turned to look at Ma Hu. That's true, if you need money, just tell us. That's the plan for now, but I estimate that the company will not be able to start until next year. After all, I don't have any money now, and it's not good for the company to be small. Let's make an agreement that when I save enough to reach a small goal, we will start the company. How about that? Then Sister Qin Kei will be the general manager, Sister Mai Yu will be the legal advisor, and Sister Yu Yi will form an internal medical team. In this way, we will not only be a family, but also a team. This proposal was immediately agreed by everyone. Shuangmeizi said, Ma, please don't make us wait too long. 100 million is not a small amount. If everything goes well with my plan next year, I will be able to realize it by the end of next year. After Ma Hu finished speaking, he thought carefully about the trend of Bitcoin in its original time and space. In November next year, it will reach its highest price of the year at $1,200 per coin. The best opportunity to enter the market again will be until 2015. If you hold 400,000 coins and sell them at an average price of $1,000, you will have a fortune of $400 million. If I didn't have to pay taxes, I could even register a company worth $100 million. Ma Hu then continued, rural life also needs to be located and filmed as soon as possible. I feel the best time to start broadcasting is around the Spring Festival. There is also the variety show Run Wild, and the role of the only female contestant is given to Jin Chen. Remember to make an appointment for the current episode, and the shooting time will probably be very fast. Starting tomorrow I want to be able to go to Beijing Film Academy. Yu Feihong laughed and scolded, I guess the last sentence is what you want to express the most, right? God and heaven are my conscience. I am doing this just to raise enough money to marry you guys. Looking at Ma Hu's little appearance, Yu Feihong didn't make things difficult for him. Okay, but as long as you are in Kyoto, you should go to class whenever you have time. I don't even look at the quality of the script you wrote. It's simply terrible. Okay, got it. That night, Ma Hu stayed in Zhong Shuang's room. Of course, since he had promised everyone at the dinner table, Ma Hu naturally did not let her suffer too much. In fact, it didn't matter to Ma Hu whether he participated in the restrictions on rural life or not. He just wanted to skip classes. Early the next morning, Ma Hu began to contact He Ling, Huang Lei and Mango TV, preparing to go out and select a site. As for the filming location in the previous life, Ma Hu really needs to look for it. After all, he really doesn't know its exact location. After receiving the notice from Ma Hu, we agreed to set off for Huaro together on Tuesday to find a place with beautiful mountains and rivers as the shooting location. Since this is the first season, only 4 people were arranged, Ma Hu, Huang Lei and Tong Ya. The 4 colleagues all had time, so they set out together on Tuesday to select a site. Of course, they were also accompanied by staff from Mango TV, as they were needed to make the final contact. Also, because of the participation of Ma Hu, the planner of this program, some changes to the content also need to be planned by the staff. Otherwise, Ma Hu knows all the content of the program, which is not very friendly to the filming of the program. During the site selection process, Ma Hu and Huang Lei were also chatting about the filming of the show. In order to maintain Huang Lei's character as Huang Xiaochu, Ma Hu took the initiative to say that his character can be summed up in one word, lie flat. At the same time, in order to increase the highlights, He Ling and Huang Lei both have the bonus of musicians. After all, this is still a bit lacking for Ma Hu and Tong Ya. Tong Ya doesn't need a character setting at all. The Tong Ya in this time and space has basically the same personality and temperament as the Tong Ya in the original time and space. She is the type of good wife and mother. Just be ordinary and don't bother with the world, just keep it that way. Chapter 21, Choosing a Location for Rural Life, Go to Hangzhou. Ma Hu also used a map to check the environment there on Monday, so this was not a blind search. After 2 days of field investigation and 3 days of negotiations, the final filming location was settled in a small mountain village next to the Huaro Reservoir. There are mountains, water and fertile fields here. It is definitely a picturesque place. If he wasn't short of money, Ma Hu would have built his own courtyard here. In order to shoot more materials, time is tight and the task is heavy. After everyone's discussion, the pastoral life plan will start shooting at the end of October. Although the time is a bit tight, there are not many things that need to be prepared. Half a month is enough time to clean the room and invite guests. Even if there are not enough guests, don't I still have a few women who can come and serve as travel guests? The shooting period is expected to be 3 months, and the program will be aired after New Year's Day, which just fits Ma Hu's plan. It's before the Spring Festival, let us all slow down and experience life well. The rest of the time was left to the program team. Mahu took Jin Chen to Hangzhou mainly to discuss the recording of Running Man. According to Mahu's idea, this program should be broadcast as soon as possible. After all, this is the only way for him to make money. But after discussion, it was decided to schedule the shooting time next year when the weather warms up. Currently, Blue Channel is mainly preparing for the voice auditions and plans to start recording in December. It will be broadcasted in March or April next year, and after it is finished, it will be replaced by Run Wild. Mahu felt that the arrangement was reasonable, but the progress was a little slower than his plan. However, Blue Stage has already begun to prepare for the crazy run. The casting work was in progress. Mahu took a look at the candidate characters and felt that they were good because they were basically the same as in his previous life. Deng Chao, Li Chen, Chen He, Zheng Kai, and a few other people I don't know. At the same time, Mahu has 2 spots, one for a man and one for a woman. As for the original cast, of course they will be used directly, so Mahu proposed to choose Deng Chao, Li Chen, Chen He, Zheng Kai, and Jin Chen. As for the remaining male guests, the decision will be tentative. After all, there is still about half a year before the filming starts, so I decided to look for Bachchan again. You have to give a thumbs up to your man, the male lead in the drama. So Mahu asked the people from Lantai to help him look for this person. Blue TV still attaches great importance to Mahu's needs, but the other party also expressed a little dissatisfaction in some ways. After all, there is competition among every TV station, and most of Mahu's creative proposals some time ago were taken away by Mango TV and Blue Channel. However, Mango TV took one more than Blue TV, which made Blue TV feel a little unbalanced. Mahu naturally liked that someone wanted to give him money. Then he said to Deputy Director Liu, who was in contact, "Don't worry about leaving the account book. There must be some good stuff. This thing is not about quantity but quality. You should also know that the price of your 3 plans is almost the same as the price of their 4 plans. Things are expensive for a reason. Haha, Xiao Ma, this isn't the first time we've worked together. If you have any good stuff, why don't you show it to everyone? After all, who would want too much of a good thing? There are good things and they are already being planned, but I have already chosen the roles. Am I worried that you will be unhappy? After all, our last cooperation was very pleasant. I can't let my good relationship with you break down." Mahu's words were very tactful. The main theme was that some of the roles had already been decided. If you could accept it, you could talk about it. If not, then there was no way to talk about it. Director Liu is certainly not a fool. He specially customized the script and plan. This is the rhythm of the little guy on the opposite side preparing to promote someone, so the quality should not be too bad, right? If the protagonist can't get it, it seems possible for the supporting characters or other characters to get some. Now I just don't know how many roles there are left to choose from. Can we discuss these? The selection of roles must be based on your ideas. After all, the creative staff is the most accurate in selecting roles. Don't worry about this. We will definitely not have any misunderstandings because of such a small matter. Seeing that the other party said so, Mahu talked to the other party in detail about the 3 dramas that were being prepared. Director Liu highly praised Wulin Bijuan and Ode to Joy, but he was not very optimistic about Warrior Assault, which did not only feature male characters. After all, today's audiences like handsome men and beautiful women. What's so good about a bunch of rough guys? And there is no precedent for this. However, this doesn't matter to Mahu. After all, if you like it, we can talk about it. If you don't like it, we can find other opportunities. When director Liu learned that the female characters in the 2 dramas had basically been confirmed, he was also stunned. You are a courageous little guy. I can see that. It seems that you have a lot of female friends. Hee, Director Liu, you are joking. To be honest, except for the Warrior Assault, all my planning proposals and scripts are custom made. Otherwise, I would have gone to bed a long time ago. After all, writing scripts and making plans is very tiring. After hearing this, Director Liu didn't know what to say. Don't mess around, kid. Be careful not to cause an accident. It will not be good for you or others. Don't worry about that, but please help them more when you have the chance in the future. Mahu did not tell Director Liu who his woman was, and Director Liu was tactful enough not to ask. After all, these were things he would know later, so there was no need to ask deliberately. Then let's talk about the cooperation between those 2 dramas. Seeing that director Liu wanted to discuss the cooperation between the two dramas directly, Ma Huzi had no objection, but Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru were not there, so it was not convenient for him to talk about it directly. Director Liu, this is it. I just told you that the Legend of Wulin has already started the planning stage. How about we discuss it again in 2 days? I'll call the people over and try to reach a deal in one go. It's a good opportunity for you to also listen to what stage the planning is at now. Sure, then let's talk about it the day after tomorrow. It's almost time for dinner now, let's go eat first, and I'll do my part as a host. Seeing this, Ma Hu naturally did not refuse. However, before the meal, Ma Hu called Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru, asking them to prepare to come to Hangzhou the day after tomorrow to discuss the cooperation with Blue Channel on the TV series. In the evening, director Liu also called several pillars of the station to join him, the most important of whom were several leaders of the Voice of China. Ma Hu also followed what he knew about stage construction and sound effects in his previous life, trying his best to make the show perfect. Chapter 22 in Hingjian. On the second day, Ma Hu and Jin Chen went to the stage of the Voice of China to provide some on-site guidance. Based on my own suggestions, I put forward some rectification suggestions. More importantly, it puts forward requirements on the host's speaking speed. This opened the eyes of Jin Chen and others. It turned out that a host of a variety show could come up with so many tricks. With Ma Hu's on-site guidance, the stage construction went more smoothly. The next day, after Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru arrived, the discussion on Ode to Joy and Wulin Biechuan officially got on track. With the addition of Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru, the negotiations went much more smoothly, but the price of the series was not as high as that of the variety show. After all, the shooting of a TV series also requires various costs. The final price was only 50,000 yuan per episode. Wulin Biechuan sold for 4 million yuan, and Ode to Joy 1 sold for 1.2 million yuan. Of course there are other benefits, but they are not available now. This way, I earned about another 4 million yuan and I was finally no longer a pauper. After director Liu read the complete script of Wulin Biechuan, he immediately expressed his intention to start the production immediately. After all, such a plot is very suitable for the Spring Festival period. In his opinion, a TV series that is joyful and funny can also become a hit. Not to mention that Yu Feihong has already started planning. The deal was done, and I had some money in hand, so it seemed like I could relax for a few days. However, when I think about the fact that I'm about to go record a pastoral live show, should I think about how I can lie down and have a good rest during the show? Yu Feihong originally wanted to take Ma Hu directly back to Kyoto, but in order not to go back to class, Ma Hu told Yu Feihong that he was going to a casting. This surprised Yu Feihong. He looked at Ma Hu with a puzzled look. You don't want to go back with me, do you? How is that possible? If I go back and sleep with you guys in my arms, it will be more comfortable than sleeping alone. But I have to find some actors to prepare for my movie Warrior Assault. Are you thinking of finding actors right now just because you have a script? Yeah, isn't it possible? After all, you all have things to do before and after the new year. Next summer vacation, I want to take you to participate in Flower Boys Travel together. After all, this is a rare program that can bring you all together to play, and we can work and have fun at the same time. Looking at the suspicious looks of Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru, Ma Hu didn't dare to say anything more. But fortunately, as long as Ma Hu can be prevented from stopping, it will be a victory for Yu Feihong. Yu Feihong and Shen Meiru both returned to Kyoto this morning. And Ma Hu came to Hingjian. After all, he wanted to try his luck and see if he could meet a celebrity he knew from his previous life. Of course, he doesn't have much time, only a week at most. In Hingjian, Ma Hu re-registered a green bubble in order to add people and added contact information when he met a group leader. Ma Hu's good looks made the group leaders quite fond of him. Within 2 days, Ma Hu added the contact information of more than a dozen group leaders. Afterwards, they successfully found Baqian, who was still playing minor roles most of the time, and Huangbo, who played a supporting role. This is undoubtedly good news for me. It can basically be confirmed that the characters in a Warrior Assault can find their original owners in the previous life. Ma Hu's idea is to prepare to play the role of Qingsai himself. Not for any other reason, just to satisfy my craving. After all, I really loved this drama in my previous life. I have watched it no less than 20 times. Huangbo is the future actor, the black skin of Crazy Stone. Ma Hu is planning to release this movie next year. After all, the cost is not very high, and it is also the first work after the establishment of his company. On the third night after arriving in Hengjian, Ma Hu invited Baqiang and Huangbo to have dinner together, and of course there were some other people, all of whom would play roles in the later plot. There weren't many people, only about 7 or 8, but it was just enough to fill a table. Ma Hu is not short of money now, so he was not too stingy and directly found the best restaurant in Hengjian. Seeing that everyone was a little restrained, Ma Hu didn't act too polite. We are brothers when we are together. When we have resources in the future, please take care of each other. I have several dramas next year, and I think I will need a lot of help from everyone. I hope you don't mind the small roles. After hearing what Ma Hu said, everyone was happy. After all, no matter what, if someone gave them a job, it meant they respected them. Then everyone drank the wine in their glasses together. Baqiang is not good at speaking, but he was the first to speak. Brother Ma, are you serious? Is there really a movie that wants us to film? That can't be more true. Not only is there a TV series, but there is also a variety show. I want you to go, but you need to train yourself more now, especially your acting and variety show skills. Normally, you are not famous now, so you should not be allowed to participate in variety shows, but I just happen to have a spot in my hand. After the TV series is finished and released, I guess you will be famous, and you may even soar to the sky. Seeing this, others also asked if they had any chance. It is certainly impossible for Ma Hu to praise everyone. After all, everyone's starting point and characteristics are different. Ma Hu can only tell everyone that everyone has a role to play, but how far you can go depends on your luck. Everyone can understand what Ma Hu said. After all, opportunity is something wonderful. For example, after a few drinks, everyone became familiar with each other and were talking freely, chatting about the various interesting things they encountered or exchanging information about future resources. Just after drinking 2 bottles of wine, Ma Hu felt someone patting his shoulder and turned his head to look. A seductive face appeared before his eyes. This face exists in both his past life and the original owner's memory. This person is none other than Yang Mi. One of my favorite actresses in my previous life. Of course I simply like to look at her face and legs. According to the original owner's memory, Secretary Yang had come here twice when he ran the restaurant, so they could be considered acquaintances. But there was no contact information and we didn't have much interaction. At first, Ma Hu was still complaining about why the original owner didn't leave contact information, but now that he met the other person came over to say hello. It was probably the original owner's appearance that played a role. Boss Ma, why did you come to Hengjian? Are you here to be an extra as well? Then he looked at Huangbo. Brother Bo is here too, do you know him too? Secretary Yang was already a star at this point, better than anyone else present. Originally everyone was a little skeptical about Ma Hu's unknown origin, but now it seems that he can be completely trusted. Chapter 23, Treating Guests and Meeting a Beautiful Woman. Bo Ji spoke first. We just met, are you coming to eat too? Yeah, I just finished filming my scene and asked a few friends to come over and have a bite. Huangbo nodded, but he did not invite Secretary Yang to sit down. After all, this was a meeting of the Ma Hu group, and it would be inappropriate for him to invite anyone. Ma Hu then said, where's your friend? Hasn't he arrived yet? If you don't mind, sit down and eat with us. Don't worry, this is not my restaurant. I'll treat you. Seeing this, the others quickly moved to the other side, leaving the space next to Ma Hu empty. Secretary Yang also sat down. Boss Ma hasn't answered my question yet. Why did you come to Hengjian? And when I went to your restaurant for dinner during the National Day holiday, I saw that it was closed. Did you change your career and enter the entertainment industry? Well, I did change my career. I closed the restaurant during the summer vacation. The work was too tiring and I didn't make much money. It seriously affected my future life plans. Secretary Yang smiled when he heard this. Then how about I help you? I'll introduce you to some supporting roles. You can do it with your image. Baqiang and the others felt so sad when they heard this. It was sometimes difficult to find a minor role for themselves, but as soon as Ma Hu came on stage, someone introduced him to a supporting role. Compared with others, hey tilde 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 tilde. Thank you, but please introduce more of my brothers to me when you have the chance. I will be busy next month and won't be able to stay here for too long. Really? Did your beautiful tenants introduce them to you? Ah, you even know this. Are you secretly in love with me and investigated me for this? Before Secretary Yang could say anything, he heard 2 pleasant female voices coming from behind him. Yes, she has a crush on you. For this reason, she took the 2 of us to your shabby little restaurant 3 or 4 times during the National Day holiday. Ma Hu looked back and saw Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan, two of the four young actresses of the original Time and Space. In this time and space, Gao Yuan is 1 year younger than Yu Feihong, while Liu Shishi and Yang Mi are 1 or 2 years older than Tong Yue. Ma Hu sometimes wonders, are these beauties all tailor-made for him? It seems that I need to investigate further. After all, there are more beautiful celebrities in Hong Kong and Taiwan. If it is really customized for me, then they should not be very old, right? Oh, it turns out to be Miss Liu and Miss Gao. Come, let's eat together. You guys can order some new dishes. We have almost finished what we ordered just now. It's my treat today. Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan casually asked the waiter to bring stools for them to sit on and then greeted everyone. Boss Ma, you don't know that Mimi took us to your store 3 times during the National Day holiday but we couldn't find him. You don't know how disappointed he was. It was so pitiful to see him. Don't talk nonsense, I just want to go to the school to taste the flavor of school. Gao Yuan said, this interface is really bad. Why do you do it like this? You should be more generous and show the strength of a Kyoto girl. It would have been done a long time ago. You're still talking about me, don't you two have any ideas? Isn't this giving you a break? Don't be so rude to us. These 3 women really dare to say that in front of so many people. Aren't they worried that rumors will arise tomorrow? Before Ma Hu came out to smooth things over, Huang Bo started to change the subject. Did Ma run a restaurant in Beijing Film Academy? Well, it was only open for about a year, and it closed down at the end of August. Secretary Yang, as Huang Bo's schoolmate, naturally has a say. Moreover, they are classmates of the same grade, just in different majors. Yes, the taste is good, and the main selling point is affordable. We have been there several times. But it only opened last year. No wonder I didn't know about it. It seems I'll have to try Ma's cooking skills when I get a chance. No problem, there's a chance. Ma Hu looked at the 3 women as if he had thought of something. How come you are all filming here by chance? Yes, what do we eat, drink and wear when we are not filming? Secretary Yang said. Well, meeting is fate. Come, let me toast you. I wish you can finish the filming smoothly soon. Then Ma Hu raised his glass and everyone drank together, while Yang Mi and the 3 daughters drank beverages. After drinking, everyone felt a little restrained because of the presence of the beautiful women. But Ma Hu didn't say anything. After all, if he had encountered this situation in his previous life, he might have been worse off than them. Secretary Yang, you haven't yet, right? Yes and no. Seeing everyone looking confused, Ma Hu had no choice but to explain. You said I have a house, a car, and savings, so can I just lie back and rest for the rest of my life? But I couldn't even realize such a small wish. Teacher Yu Feihong insisted that I fight and work hard. I disagreed, so she contacted my other tenants and signed an unequal treaty with me. I really have a hard life. What unequal treaty? If I don't work hard, they won't pay my rent, and I'll be living off my savings. I was counting on these little rich ladies to support me, but they are just cutting off my rent payments. How can I accept that? So I find something for them to do. I wrote a script and gave it to Teacher Yu, asking her to coordinate it. Except for those who had not graduated, I put everyone else into the crew. Even those who had studies to complete had to make a cameo appearance. I also made a variety show plan and directly brought Tong Yue into the group. They don't want me to lie down and I can't let them relax. If they don't pay the rent, I will make them work for me. Ma Hu spoke half-truthfully. After all, he definitely couldn't tell anyone about the agreement between the 10 women and himself now. It was too shocking after all. There are not many people practicing polygamy in this era. After all, the income of beautiful women in this circle is very high, and few people will accept polygamy for money unless they meet a truly wealthy tycoon. Everyone burst into laughter after hearing what Ma Hu said. Liu Shishi even said, I didn't expect you to be so petty. It's not easy for you to just lie down. Why don't you just accept Mimi and let her make money to support you? Anyway, she is in the 4th quarter of love now. Unexpectedly, the topic that had just been changed was diverted again by Liu Shishi. Ma Hu had no choice but to say helplessly, I am narrow-minded. It is no problem for me to put down the 3 of you. Do you and Sister Yuan want to join us? Then I will have 13 beauties to support me. After saying this, Ma Hu burst into laughter. Secretary Yang pointed at Ma Hu and said, you are a dishonest person. Who would want to raise you? It would be better to raise a puppy instead of you. This way, he will wag his tail at you when he tries to please you. After hearing this, Ma Hu leaned close to Yang Mi's ear and said seriously, I can wag my tail too. After saying that, he moved closer to Liu Shishi to avoid being hurt by Yang Mi's sudden attack. However, the sudden attack he had imagined did not happen. Instead, Secretary Yang blushed and cursed softly, you hooligan. Ma Hu was even happier at this time. As he expected, after he said this, Yang Mi really had the wrong idea. The other grown men looked as if they had eaten a bellyful of dog food, and the food in front of them no longer tasted good. Afterwards, Secretary Yang used all his tricks to start his revenge. She kept toasting with Ma Hu while walking alone, taking Liu Shishi and Jiao Yuan with her. After the three of them went to the toilet twice, they even pulled everyone at the table together to deal with Ma Hu. Ma Hu, who is absolutely confident and wants to test his bottom line, is not afraid of anyone who comes. An hour later, 2 boxes of white wine alone were empty on Ma Hu's table, and there were almost 10 boxes of bottled wine. As for how much Ma Hu drank, he himself didn't know. After all, he really drank too much. You have to know that there are only 12 people at this table, even including the 3 women. With so much wine, most people were already lying on the table. Huangbo said with a big tongue, brother, I am convinced. I am completely convinced by you. If you need anything in the future, call me and I will be there whenever you call. As he spoke, he shook his head. Seeing that the situation was almost over, Ma Hu gave the waitress 2,000 yuan and asked her to help get a few rooms nearby for these people and send them there to rest. Looking at the 3 women who were still energetic in front of him, he asked, how are you guys? Continue or tell me. Secretary Yang refused to admit defeat, keep going. I don't believe I can't have a drink with you. Let's go to the barbecue. There is no closing time. Then he turned around and went to the front desk to pay the bill. How could Ma Hu let her pay for this? After all, he was the one who set up the bureau. That would be a bit unfair. Ma Hu immediately went to the front desk to pay the bill. At this time, Liu Shishi and Jiao Yuan had also packed up, and the 4 of them went out together. Chapter 24, The Confession at the Roadside Stall. The melodrama reflects reality. There is a table full of various grilled skewers at a roadside stall. There were 2 boxes of beer on the table. Secretary Yang opened the bottle of wine generously and placed it in front of Ma Hu, then opened 3 more bottles and gave them to Liu Shishi, Jiao Yuan and himself. Seeing this, Ma Hu felt that something was wrong with Yang Mi's condition. Looking at the wine in front of the 3 people, he took the wine in front of him and asked the boss to bring a pot of hot water to the 3 people. Ma Hu said, you guys are not filming tomorrow. Seeing Ma Hu's actions, the 3 women also smiled. Jiao Yuan said, you have a conscience. Did you go to Inner Mongolia and Xinjiang for fun during the National Day holiday? Ma Hu ate the skewers in his hand and stared at Jiao Yuan. You know. I only found out about it later, otherwise I wouldn't have gone to your store so many times. That store will not be open anymore. If you want to eat there, please contact me in advance. I can treat you if I have time. Secretary Yang, in advance. Contact. How can we contact you if you don't even give us a contact method? At this time, Ma Hu slapped his head and realized that it was true. He did not have their contact information. Then he took out his mobile phone, called up the QR code of his green bubble friend and asked them to add him. The 3 girls did not refuse. They all took out their mobile phones, scanned Ma Hu's friend QR code and added Ma Hu. Liu Shishi said, did you have a great time during the National Day? Ma Hu looked at Liu Shishi in surprise. If you go out to play and you're not happy, then isn't it a waste of time? Yes, with so many beautiful women around, you must be very happy, right? Ma Hu blinked. Do you know who I went with? Others may not know, but how can we not know? What's so special about you? Do you have special abilities? Secretary Yang rolled her eyes beautifully. We also have a circle of friends and we also go online. Ah, okay, I'm narrow-minded. Jiao Yuan looked at Ma Hu and said, the old saying is true. It's hard to hear the old people crying when you only hear the new people laughing. Isn't it a bit too bad for you to do this? At this time, Ma Hu felt a little confused by Jiao Yuan's words. Gain looked at the 3 women, who can help me explain what it means. I don't quite understand it. Have you forgotten what you said on the beach of Huhai? Listening to Jiao Yuan's words, Ma Hu had a sense of deja vu. Do you still remember Shiyuha by the Daming Lake? Ma Hu seriously suspected that the original owner did not pass all of his memories to him. He seriously concealed the romantic debts he left behind. Three sisters, if I have done anything wrong before, you can tell me directly. I feel like I am missing something in my memory. 8 years ago, you went to Huhai to play and saved someone. Do you remember? Mahu rolled his eyes. I forgot. What happened? Can you tell me in detail? Is this some melodramatic plot? I saved you back then, so you decided to pledge your love to me. Liu Shishi, just as you thought, that's what happened. Sister Yuan took the two of us to play in Huhai, but we fell into the water. In the end, you saved us. Don't you really remember it? Looking at the resentful eyes of the three people, Mahu had no choice but to spread his hands and explain his situation. No wonder you haven't contacted us in the past 4 years. At first we thought you had fallen in love with someone else and met someone you liked. Mahu stared. Is it really so ridiculous? How could I forget all three of you beauties? Did something happen to me before? Secretary Yang sighed and said softly, we don't know if anything happened to you. We only know that you stopped contacting us 4 years ago, and we can't contact you using any of your contact information. Then Mahu remembered all the memories that the original owner had left for him, but he couldn't find this part. Do you have any photos of us or chat records or something? Let me make it clear first, it's not that I doubt it, it's mainly because I really don't remember it. If there are some photos or chat records, maybe they can help me recover my lost memories. I have to say that the brainless skits I watched before traveling through time in my previous life were not in vain. This excuse came to me as soon as it came up. At the same time, it can also verify what these three people said. After all, I am a fake, so in order to avoid being exposed, it is necessary to verify it. Besides, it would be a shame to waste three beautiful women. As soon as Mahu finished speaking, Secretary Yang took out his cell phone and flipped through the photo album. Look at these photo albums. Aren't they all photos of you and us taken when you graduated from high school? He casually swiped through several photos. There was indeed a contract for 4 people, as well as a photo of himself and Secretary Yang. Then Secretary Yang opened the ball and let himself look at the previous chat records. However, when I saw my Churchio name, I almost felt sick to my stomach. Because Churchio's name is married man, what a fool must be to have such a name. Mahu memorized the name and number of the ball, and then looked at Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan. As if they were in sync, they both opened their phones to let him look at the photos and chat records. This situation immediately gave Mahu a headache. I held my head with both hands and my brain was constantly thinking about what I should do. This matter was difficult to explain to either side. Then the scene fell into silence. In the end, Mahu couldn't think of any good way to solve the problem at hand. But he knew that it was better to be honest than to lie in this matter. Sorry, I really can't remember the 3 beautiful sisters. At the same time, I have something else to tell you. After all, it would be unfair to you if I concealed it. At the same time, no matter what, I also thank you for waiting. Listening to Mahu's words and looking at his appearance, the 3 girls were filled with guilt. After all, they were busy with work and life in the past few years when they lost contact and basically did not take the initiative to look for Mahu. Even when they went to dine in Mahu's restaurant, they did not notice anything unusual and did not ask why Mahu did not recognize them. In their view, this is also their responsibility. Seeing the silence of the 3 women, Mahu could only start to explain. After all, if this matter was not made clear now, it might cause more trouble later and would also hurt more people. Well, you should also know that there are 10 women living in my house. During the summer vacation, I felt tired and didn't want to rush around for a living. After all, I have some assets which are enough for me to lie down. So I decided to close the restaurant and enjoy life. But Guli and Dilly thought I was too young to just lay down. Then I told Sister Feihone, and in order to motivate me to do things, Sister Feihone and the others came together and signed a 3-year bet with me. The content of the bet is that if I can earn enough money for the bride price and marriage deposit within 3 years, they will all agree to marry me. Although it is a bet, I cannot deceive them under the current circumstances, just like I cannot deceive you. After all, you are all doing this for my own good and are thinking about me. Secretary Yang wiped her tears and said, "Who is doing this for your own good? We are not doing this for your own good. Do whatever you want." Then he looked at Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan and said, "Sisters, let's go. Maybe it was our fault. We lost him." Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan stopped young Mi, who was a little angry. Liu Shishi, Mahu, it's okay. Maybe we really have neglected you in recent years. I don't know what happened. No matter what decision you make, we will support you. Chapter 25 Returned to Kyoto to confess. The 4 people from Ma Hu ended the last drinking session in a hurry. Maybe it was to make amends to the original owner, or maybe for other reasons. He took the initiative to send the 3 women, who looked a little disappointed, back to their residence. Ma Hu was walking aimlessly on the streets of Hengjian. It's not that Ma Hu felt guilty, but he was thinking about how to solve the problem left by the original owner. He must be feeling very conflicted at this moment. After all, this is also the wealth left to him by the original owner, isn't it? By the time Ma Hu returned to the hotel, it was already 12 o'clock in the evening. Ma Hu thought about it for a long time on the bed in the hotel and felt that this matter still needed to be made known to the women at home. After all, this matter can be a big deal or a small matter, and deliberately concealing it will have a chain reaction. After confirming this matter, Ma Hu immediately took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Baqiang and others, saying that he would return to Kyoto tomorrow and they could communicate at any time if there was anything. Although he didn't know whether young Mi and the other 2 had rested, Ma Hu decided to wait until tomorrow morning to tell them the news of his return to Kyoto. I checked the earliest high-speed train to Kyoto. Ma Hu checked out early and went to the station, then bought a ticket and returned to Kyoto. Of course, Ma Hu did not forget to inform the 3 women. Last night, not only Ma Hu did not sleep all night, but young Mi, Liu Shishi and Gao Yuan also did not sleep in their respective rooms. Everyone is thinking about how to deal with this matter. When they received Ma Hu's message, they all did not reply because they did not know how to reply. After dealing with these things, Ma Hu sent a message to Yu Feihong and Qin Kei, asking if everyone was at home. Except for Yu Feihong and Lin Yu, everyone else should be here today, but Ma Hu was worried about accidents, so he asked specifically. Perhaps because it was too early, there was still no response. It was not until around 9 o'clock that Ma Hu received a reply from Baqiang and Huang Bo, wishing him a safe journey. It was around 11 o'clock before Ma Hu received replies from Yu Feihong and Qin Kei. As for young Mi's 3 daughters, there's been no movement yet. At noon, Ma Hu returned to the capital and Qin Kei and Shen Meiru came to pick him up. Shen Meiru looked at Ma Hu. I heard from Sister Feihong that you were not going to come back until the recording of the show. Why are you here early? Are you unhappy that I came back early? Or do you not want to see me? Daily bickering is a normal part of life for Ma Hu and Shen Meiru. It would be strange if they didn't bicker when they met. Although Shen Meiru looks like an intellectual beauty, she just likes to argue with Ma Hu. While bickering, they watched the vehicles moving slowly on the road. Ma Hu looked at Qin Kei, who was driving. Suddenly he became the best actor. Sister Kei, Sister Meiru, if I did something to let you down, would you forgive me? Qin Kei's hands trembled as he drove, and Shen Meiru looked at Ma Hu in confusion. What have you done to offend us? Looking at Shen Meiru's anxious look, Ma Hu felt a pang in his heart. No, it's more like what if a few childhood friends suddenly appear. Upon hearing this, Shen Meiru grabbed Ma Hu's ear. Childhood sweethearts. Then why didn't you tell us before? Are you hiding it on purpose or are you trying to deceive us? Ma Hu had no time to think about the relationship between deliberate concealment and deception. Sister Meiru, listen to me, I just found out that I have 3 childhood sweethearts. I didn't hide it on purpose. Didn't I just come back last night to tell you as soon as I found out? Besides, I have no impression of her at all. I just happened to meet her when I invited Baqiang and Huang Bo to dinner last night. They said she was my childhood sweetheart, but I have no impression of her. Later they showed me our previous photos and chat records and I realized that my memory was missing and I didn't even know how much was missing. After hearing what Ma Hu said, Shen Meiru quickly let go of Ma Hu's hand and then directly hugged Ma Hu's head. Hurry up and show me, have I hurt my head? When Ma Hu saw Shen Meiru's anxious look, he felt warm in his heart. After all, this is caring about yourself. This is when Qin Kei spoke. Okay, let's talk about it when we get home. Meiru, go say hello to Feihong first. The whole family will have a meeting at noon for the interrogation. Okay, got it. Then Shen Meiru started to call people in the group. Everyone, pay attention, everyone, the trial of the scumbag Ma Hu will be held at noon. All members must be present, no leave, no innocent absence. I have to say that Shen Meiru, this beautiful and intelligent woman, is as funny as a comedian. Even Qin Kei, who was driving in front, was amused. However, the group was in chaos. Guli, did Brother Xiaoma do anything to let us down? Zhong Shuang, the scissors are ready for castration at any time. Yu Feihong, I was wondering why we had to go to Hengjian. Turns out there was a purpose. Let's wait for him to come back and explain to us. If you're not satisfied, there's no need to see him. Shuang, get your nail clippers ready. They are very useful. Dilly, I have prepared peanuts and melon seeds. This morning, upstairs, should I prepare some mineral water for drinking? Lin Rui, surgery, I can do it, too. Jiang Shuyin. Tom Ya, everyone please calm down, calm down. Shen Meiru, this scumbag went to Hingjian and actually found 3 childhood sweethearts. We must interrogate him today, otherwise we don't know when more childhood sweethearts will pop up. Agree. Agree +1. Agree +2. Shen Meiru looked at Mahu sinisterly, making Mahu tremble in his heart. Sister, I really don't know. I still don't remember it. I told them about your situation yesterday. I took the earliest bus back this morning just to tell you about it. Are you trying to show off your growing harem? How dare I? You should know that my true feelings for you are evident to all heaven and earth. However, Kincaid hit the nail on the head with one sentence. Who are the other party? Where are they from? What do they do? How old are they? Shen Meiru also looked at Mahu with a curious look. Gao Yuan, Yang Mi, and Liu Shishi are all from Kyoto. Otherwise, how could I use the metaphor of childhood sweethearts? Upon hearing this, Shen Meiru tilted her head and looked left and right. I wonder where you got such good luck. All 10 of us are very pretty, but I didn't expect your so-called childhood sweethearts are also beauties, and they are all big beauties in the entertainment industry. Did you save the earth in your previous life? Regarding this question, Mahu could only think to himself, I don't know whether the original owner saved the earth, but although I was mediocre in my previous life, I was definitely a good citizen. Chapter 26. The women reach a consensus. When Mahu returned home, it was already past 1 in the afternoon. Of course, the situation of 3-court trial did not occur. At the dinner table, all 10 women were present, eating in small bites. The scene was very strange. When Mahu saw this situation, he knew he had no choice but to speak up. So he started telling the whole story. After everyone heard this, there was another moment of silence. He spoke first this morning. You have no impression at all. Really not? Then you don't have any information about them at home. This sentence this morning immediately attracted everyone's attention again. Dilly, yeah, if you are in such a relationship, there shouldn't be any information, right? I'm really not sure about this. How about we look for it together after dinner? I really don't have any impression. Mahu had no choice but to answer truthfully. After all, it was indeed not in the memory given to me by the original owner. During the time I have been here, accepting the original owner's memory, and then there were various things, and I really didn't pay much attention to the things at home. Mahu's proposal immediately aroused everyone's interest. Guli was the first to respond. She even skipped her meal and began her journey of exploration. Others also took action in order to find out the truth. After searching the living room and several bedrooms, they searched through all the drawers and finally found photos of Mahu and the 3 girls in the bedroom of the original owner's parents, including some photos that Mahu had seen before. Now everyone finally believed what Mahu said, and Mahu also believed what the 3 women said. But how to solve it later becomes a problem. Things are back to square one. Everyone sat together staring at each other. Kincaid, brother Hu, how do you want to deal with this? Yu Feihong, yes, brother Hu, how do you want to deal with it? After all, you are the most important person. Sisters and sisters, I just don't know how to deal with this, so I came back in a hurry to be honest with you and seek a solution. I know you are good to me and always think about me, and I don't want you to be wronged. Kincaid, okay, you go out and take a look. We will have a small meeting internally and then tell you our decision. In fact, Kincaid and the others didn't have any good ideas. After all, they really fell in love with Mahu during this period. Even if Mahu could not fulfill the promise after 3 years, everyone had basically decided to continue together as long as they could. However, it now feels like this team of 10 is about to expand again. Everyone looked at each other and thought about the ridiculous agreement. Yu Feihong, I was the one who proposed the gambling agreement. I apologize to everyone for causing harm to them. Looking at Yu Feihong, everyone's eyes were actually a little red. After all, this matter was decided by everyone together, but Yu Feihong wanted to take the blame on himself. This is unfair, but when I think about it, didn't the agreement at the time say that if Mahu could achieve that goal, it wouldn't matter how many people favor him afterwards? It seems that everyone has a bottom line, that is, Mahu must meet that condition. However, everyone's thoughts have probably changed now. After all, everyone was so harmonious on that trip that just ended. Everyone tried to persuade Yu Feihong, and Tong Wei even brought up the time in the agreement that Ma Hu could be let off if he met the most stringent requirements. Everyone will understand and there is no need to worry about it anymore. At the same time, it can give Ma Hu more motivation. Qin Kei looked at everyone. Does anyone have the green bubbles or phone numbers of these three people? Let's communicate with them and see what they mean. After all, this is not only our business, but also theirs. It is not certain whether they will join in the end. Even if they do, they have to let Ma Hu suffer a little, otherwise it would be too easy for him. Qin Kei's words were quickly agreed upon by everyone. In the end, Tong Wei found Secretary Yang's phone number, called him, and got the green bubble numbers of the three people. Soon a new group chat was created successfully. Young Mi and the other two were not in the mood to film at all. They were all thinking about Ma Hu. How could he not remember what happened between them? The 13 women thus started their first video chat. The content of the chat went from dull at the beginning to lively later on. The team was eventually expanded, but everyone agreed to increase the requirement for Ma Hu. The conditions for marrying young Mi and the other two are the same as the conditions for the original 10 women, which means that Ma Hu's money-making task has increased by nearly 200 million. If you can't do it, those who want to leave can leave, and those who don't want to leave can prepare for the appointment. In order to give Ma Hu continuous motivation, the previous regulations were modified, which stipulated that if Ma Hu completed the task, there would be no limit on the number of wives he could marry. It was changed to, if he completed the task after 3 years, if he wanted to marry other women, he would need to maintain the same gift price and fees, and at the same time give 10 million to his original wife. In this way, even if Ma Hu wants to marry more wives, he will need to earn 200 million yuan to do so. In their opinion, this has definitely blocked Ma Hu's way to getting married. After all, it is not certain whether he can earn enough money from them in 3 years. At this time, everyone felt fortunate for their own wisdom. However, they ignored Ma Hu's ability to make money. In the end, everyone had a great time talking, and Qin Kei and Yu Feihong had even thought of asking Ma Hu to use the money he had just earned to renovate their house. After all, these three new beauties need a place to stay when they come. Even though their family lives in Kyoto, they still have to make preparations. Then everyone talked about their recent work and life, and asked Secretary Yang and the other two to come back and get the keys to the self-built house when they have time. At the same time, in order to punish Ma Hu, everyone unanimously decided to notify Ma Hu to come back before going to bed. He must know the consequences of making everyone angry. Naturally, no one objected to this. Then everyone started to busy themselves with their own things. After all, young Mi's 3 daughters were still filming outside. But after Ma Hu left home, he didn't know where to go. After thinking it over, I took the subway to the overpass. What can I do here? Of course, I want to see whether Dian Club has been established. Ma Hu also checked on his phone, and sure enough, the Dian Club in this time and space was basically the same as his previous life. His discovery was that the time and space that Ma Hu felt was the most consistent with the original time and space. Basically no gap was found. Everything that was supposed to happen has happened. Because of the incident of Lao Guo beating a reporter that just happened this year, it has had a little bit of an impact. Chapter 27: A Chance Encounter at Dian Club. It took Ma Hu almost an hour to reach the overpass. First I bought the tickets, and then I found a small restaurant and had some braised pork. Then we had tea and tickets checked before entering. Tea and fruit plates were served and we waited quietly for the show to start. This was an evening session, so it was packed. This location in Ma Hu is equivalent to a shared table. There is also an acquaintance, Huang Lei. When they met inside, they smiled at each other. Ma Hu, Teacher Huang, I didn't expect you to come to listen to crosstalk. Why? You can come but I can't. Or are you out on a secret date today and you're afraid of being seen? What are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense, or I'll sue you for defamation. Okay, you little idiot, believe it or not, I will send a message to Feihong and the others right now, saying that you are here to listen to the crosstalk without them. Okay, I'm afraid of you, isn't that enough? I'm having a headache, don't cause trouble for me, be careful, I won't call you if something bad happens later. Huang Lei pointed at Ma Lake. Then we introduced each other to the people next to us. The people who came with Huang Lei were none other than Wang Lei, the second in command of a brother company, and Zhu Zun, the international film queen from the original time and space. After Huang Lei introduced the two parties to each other, Wang Lei's eyes lit up. You know, good actors are hard to find, but good scripts are even harder to find. Anyone who can sell several plans is probably not a mediocre person. Wen Lei also extended his hand and said politely, I'm also a big shot, I'm calling you Xiao Ma, do you mind? Mr. Wang, you are too polite. I am just a young horse. I should be worried when you call me an old horse. Ma Hu's words also made everyone laugh. After all, people who are too rigid are not likable. Then is there a chance for us to work together? No problem, as long as there is time, definitely. Then he nodded to Juzun, and everyone sat down and chatted before the show started. Huang Lei was quite surprised that Ma Hu was alone. After all, today was the weekend and most of the people in his family should be resting. But Huang Lei did not ask about it. After all, the occasion was somewhat inappropriate. Ma, how's your sitcom planning going? It's still in the planning stages, but I went to Blue TV this week and found out that the domestic copyright has been sold. Blue TV will also be involved in the subsequent filming. Well, that's not bad. At least Fei Hong doesn't have to do everything by himself. The progress will also be faster. Yeah, I guess we'll start recording soon. Wen Lei and Juzun were both curious after listening to the conversation between the two. Huang Lei helped explain, the variety show we are going to record in November is Ma's idea and there is also a sitcom. Didn't they just say they are cooperating with Blue TV? I have roughly watched that show, it is quite good and very funny. Wen Lei also praised Ma Hu and invited him to collaborate. However, Ma Hu could not just throw out a script or plan and asked for collaboration. It's not that I'm taking advantage of Kiao, but if there are too many things, they will become worthless. Besides, all the things I can take out are classics, so I have to give priority to myself. There are too many people in the other company. If we give things to them, our own people will probably have fewer opportunities. After all, their strength is much stronger than ours. Not long after, the crosstalk began and the effect was quite good. Although I had never heard it live in my previous life, I had heard a lot of it on the internet. It tastes exactly the same as in the previous life. While listening to the crosstalk, Ma Hu checked his mobile phone from time to time. After all, he didn't know what was going on at home. As a result, he didn't find any messages. Ma Hu couldn't help but feel hesitant, not knowing what was waiting for him. Perhaps I was too greedy, and neither side wanted to let go. But this is also the normal mentality of men. If the other party is an ugly woman, Ma Hu will not make any choice at all. Huang Lei also noticed Ma Hu's actions, but did not ask him because the occasion was really not right. Time just passed slowly. When the performance was almost over, Ma Hu discovered that Guo Gang and Yu Qian would actually go on stage to perform. I thought it was a good thing to be able to see Xiao Yu, but I didn't expect to see these two in the end. I have to say, this was a little surprise. After all, these two don't often perform on stage in small theaters at this time. It was almost 11 o'clock in the evening when the two finished their performance. Just when Guo Gang and Yu Qian came on stage, Qin Kei and other girls had already sent him a message asking him to go home. However, Ma Hu was still a little scared, so he took a photo of Huang Lei and the other two opposite and sent it to the group, saying that he would be back later. When he saw several women replying to be careful on the road, Ma Hu knew that the matter should be almost resolved and he should not be angry at this time. However, as I watched, I found that there were more people in the group, including Jiao Yuan, Yang Mi and Liu Shishi. Seeing this situation, Ma Hu knew that all problems had been solved and he could have the best of both worlds. I just don't know if there is any cooperation between them. When the party was over, Guo Gang, Yu Qian and others came to Ma Hu's table. After all, they are acquaintances of Huang Lei and Juzun. After the introduction, Yu Qian prepared to treat everyone to a meal. Huang Lei had other things to do tomorrow, so he went back early. Huang Lei looked towards Ma Hu. There was naturally no problem with Ma Hu, but it was too late and the place was difficult to find. Seeing that Huang Lei was still looking at him, Ma Hu naturally understood what Huang Lei meant. Finally, Ma Hu called Qin Kei. Sister Kei, do you have much food at home? I'll take teacher Huang and the others back for dinner later. There are still a lot of dishes. Do you need me to go down and help you? No, I can do it myself. After saying that, he hung up the phone and said to them, come to my place. I have food and wine and a place to rest. Looking at the puzzled Yu Qian crowd, Huang Lei explained, Xiao Ma used to run a restaurant. His cooking skills were amazing. He just closed it, but the food is still complete. Huang Lei's words made Juzun even more curious about Ma Hu. But it's really getting late. Everyone quickly got in the car and drove to Ma Hu's home. At this time in the evening in Kyoto, the land roads were unobstructed and they arrived at Ma Hu's home in less than half an hour. Ma Hu opened the restaurant door and asked everyone to sit down first. He was just about to go to the second floor to get the food when he saw Yu Feihong, Qin Kei and Shen Meiru coming to the restaurant with wine and food. Huang Lei saw the three girls and said, "I am sorry to trouble you. I have to trouble you at this late hour. It's a bit awkward for you to say that when Huang comes. Please sit down, it will be over in a moment." After greeting everyone and introducing everyone, Ma Hu then helped pour water for everyone, while Yu Feihong and Qin Kei came to the kitchen to help Ma Hu. Half an hour later, 10 side dishes were ready. Of course, don't think about having any big dishes, after all, it's all ready this time. A really delicious and hearty dish definitely takes time. Ma Hu looked at the three girls and said, "If you have anything to do tomorrow, go and rest first. Don't let it affect tomorrow's affairs." Because Shen Meiru had a case tomorrow, she went to rest. Ma Hu knew Yu Qian's hobby, so he took out 2 boxes of cigarettes, then found 2 boxes of Shid wine. After thinking about it, he moved 3 boxes of Qingdao wine over. Of course, Juzun and Qin Kei also didn't forget their drinks. Chapter 28, Drinking from early morning till dawn. Everyone sat down, and there were 10 dishes and 1 soup for 10 people. It was considered a sumptuous meal. Qin Kei, Yu Feihong and Juzun sat on Ma Hu's left, while on his right were Huang Lei, Guo Gang and Yu Qian. The rest were Xiao Yu and Da Lin. After everyone sat down, Ma Hu filled everyone's glasses. Xiao Yu Gang and a few others wanted to help, but Ma Hu refused. Then Ma Hu picked up the wine glass and said, "First of all, thank you teachers for coming. We are in a hurry. I will prepare a big meal to entertain you later. I'm sorry for this time. I'll drink this glass of wine. Please feel free to eat." Then the wine in Ma Hu's 2.5 liang cup was drunk. It was so clean and neat that not a drop of wine fell out of the glass when it was poured down. Seeing this, Yu Qian was happy. "Xiao Ma, we are like-minded people. Let's get together often in the future." As he said this, he drank the wine in the glass. Seeing what Ma Hu and Yu Qian did, the others wanted to follow their example. Ma Hu hurriedly stopped him. "Everyone, let's drink if we can. Don't follow the example of me and teacher Yu. Health is important, isn't it?" Upon hearing this, Guo Gang nodded in agreement. Is that really the case? Whether in his past life or this life, Ma Hu doesn't like to drink too much. Everyone has a different physique, so their alcohol tolerance is different. There is no need to drink the same amount, just drink well. Yu Feihong and Juzun knew each other, so she and Qin Kei were the ones to accompany Juzun. Juzun was also curious about their relationship when he saw this, but he didn't ask. After all, some questions are not convenient to ask at any time. But we can still chat about work or things in our circle. Then Ma Hu started to toast one by one. Huang Lei, Guo Gang, Yu Gang and Xiao Yu each toasted 3 times. 3 glasses of wine, Ma Hu drank 3 glasses each time, and just with a few people, Ma Hu drank 15 glasses of wine. A cup of 2.5 liang, that is to say, Ma Hu has drunk 4.5 bottles by himself. After toasting Juzun, Ma Hu drank almost 5 bottles of wine. This shocked everyone at the table. Even Huang Lei didn't expect that Ma Hu could drink so much. Only Yu Qian's eyes lit up. Ma Hu opened another bottle of wine and looked at Yu Qian. "Teacher Yu, how do you think we should drink? This is your first time visiting me, I have to accompany you no matter what." Huang Lei pulled the corner of Ma Hu's clothes and said, "Ma, are you okay? Take it easy." "Ma Hu, don't worry, it's okay." Yu Qian, "Sure, Xiao Ma, I'm fine, but I don't know how much you can drink, you've already drunk almost 5 bottles. If you can't drink anymore, we'll talk about it next time." At this time Juzun also said, "You've drunk a lot, drink less." Ma Hu smiled and said, "It's okay. It's just the beginning, so I don't feel anything yet." Yu Feihong said, "Don't worry about him. I've seen him drink too much before. I also want to know what he looks like when he drinks too much." Yu Feihong's words immediately caused everyone to laugh. In the following time, Ma Hu and Yu Qian went back and forth, and soon the 2 boxes were gone. Ma Hu went to help and brought 2 more boxes, which made Guo Gang and others stunned. This is not the way you drink water. Although the restaurant is small, it has everything, including toilets. Ma Hu put it down and looked at the time and said, "Everyone can go and rest if they are tired. Sister Feihong, Sister Kei, you can take Sister Ju to rest first. Leave the bedrooms on the 2nd floor to teacher Huang and the others." Yu Feihong did not refuse. Juzun happened to be tired as well, so they went upstairs to rest together. As for how to arrange the room, Ma Hu believed that Yu Feihong and Qin Kei would make it. Ma Hu looked at the others and said, Teacher Guo, Teacher Huang, if you are tired, go and rest first. The second floor is fine. Then he looked at Yu Qian and said, Teacher Yu, can you still drink that? If you can, then we can continue. If you can't, forget it. We don't judge heroes by their drinking. It's enough to drink well. Yu Qian took the salt and put it in his mouth. It's okay, it's almost there, let's drink it slowly. Ma Hu looked at Huang Lei and said, Teacher Huang, if you can't make it, you can take them to rest. The 3 bedrooms on the second floor will be fine, or you can sleep in the living room. The rest of the people didn't know how long Ma Hu and Yu Qian would stop drinking, so they went to rest with Huang Lei. Xiaoya, Guo Gang, Yu Gang and Dalen can still be trusted. After all, from the previous life until the time of traveling through time, I had never heard any bad news about them. And Ma Hu continued with the remaining money. The drinking started before 1 in the morning and lasted until almost 7 in the morning. Looking at the drowsy Yu Qian, Ma Hu carried him to the living room, put him on the sofa, and then covered him with a quilt. After finishing all this, Ma Hu started preparing breakfast in the kitchen on the second floor. A pot of millet porridge. Seeing that it was still early, Ma Hu found some frozen minced meat and made some buns. We can eat when everyone wakes up. The first person to go downstairs was Shen Meiru. She had a case today and needed to work overtime. So I got up at around 8 o'clock, and when I came to the living room, I saw Yu Qian sleeping on the sofa and Yu Qian in the kitchen. How much did you drink? I didn't really count how much, but I know what time it was. Huh? Did you guys drink late? I carried Teacher Yu up here at 6:30 and prepared breakfast for you. Upon hearing this, Shen Meiru stepped forward and kissed Xia Ma Hu on the cheek. Thank you, dear. Then he took the millet porridge and steamed buns prepared by Ma Hu. Looking at Shen Meiru who was eating, how is it? Is it tasty? Millimeter, it's delicious. Why don't you eat some too? Have you not slept for 2 days? How do you know that? Humph, I definitely know. You have to learn to take care of your body. Otherwise, if you exhaust yourself, what will we do then? Hearing Shen Meiru's sweet words, Ma Hu was very happy. He walked up to her, hugged her, and kissed her shiny lips. Just as Shen Meiru finished her meal, Lin Ruyi, who was on duty last night, came back. Seeing this, Ma Hu quickly took her bag and said, have some breakfast first before taking a rest. There are millet porridge and steamed buns. Ma Hu said as he helped Lin Ruyi serve the food and placed it on the dining table. Lin Ruyi also saw the remaining money on the sofa, and she guessed that everyone would know that Yu Qian was drunk this time. Did you drink a lot last night? Is Teacher Yu okay? It's okay. He didn't even vomit. He must have fallen asleep. He probably only slept for more than 2 hours. You guys drank until dawn. Well, it was just him and I. We drank until about 6 o'clock, and after we settled him down, this is not the breakfast I made for you. You should also eat something and have a rest. Lin Ruyi sat down and started to eat breakfast. As Lin Ruyi finished her breakfast, the women who were with her came down one after another to eat. After all, Ma Hu sent a message to the group to tell them after making breakfast. Then they all asked about the battle situation with concern. Seeing that Ma Hu was fine, Yijia felt relieved. Then everyone started to get up, and when a room on the second floor became vacant, Ma Hu delivered the remaining money to the bedroom. To avoid embarrassment when he wakes up. Chapter 29 Additional Agreement, What You Wanted. When everyone looked at Yu Qian, their first reaction was to know how much Ma Hu and the other man drank last night. They were shocked to learn that the two finished at around 6 in the morning. How much does it take to drink for such a long time? Seeing that there was a vacant bedroom, Ma Hu carried the remaining money into the bedroom and let him sleep on the bed. Seeing Ma Hu carrying the remaining money alone, Guo Gang and others all gave him a thumbs up. However, after eating the buns made by Ma Hu, he nodded repeatedly and praised them for being delicious. Guo Gang and others left after finishing their meal, leaving Dalen waiting for the remaining money. While waiting for the remaining money, Dalen was stunned by the beauties that appeared from time to time in Ma Hu's room. He came forward and said, "Brother Ma, you are amazing. There are so many beauties living here. Are they all your sisters-in-law?" Ma Hu did not hide it. Well, yes, you can call it that. Juzun, who was eating breakfast nearby, was also stunned and looked at Ma Hu. "Brother, you are so lucky to have so many beauties around you. Hey, Sister Ju, you're too kind. Please help take care of these people in the circle in the future." "No problem. Just because of your straightforwardness, I agreed." "Thank you, Sister Ju." Not long after, Juzun and Huang Lei both left. Huang Lei also made an appointment with Ma Hu to go to record the pastoral life. After all, the two lived relatively close to each other and could go together. After Ma Hu chatted with Dalen for a while, Yu Qian also got up. Although he didn't sleep long, it was enough. After eating a few buns, Yu Qian left. Of course, when we left we didn't forget to agree to have a drink together next time when we have time. The guests had all left, but Ma Hu was a little frightened. After all, he didn't know whether these women would give him a surprise or a shock, even though they had been very kind to him last night and this morning. But a woman's heart is as unfathomable as the sea. Ma Hu will not feel at ease until the mystery is solved. Qin Kai and Yu Feihong did not disappoint Ma Hu. They quickly gathered the girls at home together. Yu Feihong took out some A4 paper and a pen and handed them to Ma Hu. Ma Hu immediately understood what it meant. He signed it neatly without even looking at it. Seeing this, Yu Feihong said, "You signed without even looking at what you're doing. Aren't you afraid that we'll sell you out? I believe you will not harm me. Even if you really want to harm me, I will sign it because I believe in you and love you." Guli, Dilly and Zhong Shuang all felt as if their whole bodies were shuddered at this moment. Zhong Shuang, "Oh, I'm so touched, so corny." As he said this, he pretended to have goosebumps all over his body. Guli was even more outrageous. She looked at Ma Hu and said, "Brother Xiao Ma, you look like a greasy middle-aged man now." Ma Huxiaoxia was ready to hand the signed agreement to Yu Feihong. Yu Feihong took it, took a photo and sent it to the group, which also served as a notification to those who had not returned home. This also gave Ma Hu the opportunity to read the content carefully. When Ma Hu saw the content, he immediately became happy. After all, Yang Mi's 3 daughters were not lost, and it also left a loophole for him to find a wife. Now there are 13 women, the marriage deposit is 60 million, the betrothal gift is 650 million, and if you add a villa worth 100 million yuan, the total cost will be 810 million. By December next year, I should be able to make a profit of about $400 million. Excluding the relationship between taxes and exchange rates, I should be able to get more than 2 billion yuan. Everything is enough. Even if I really lie down, it is enough for me to live a rich life for the rest of my life. I will wait until I have a chance to buy it back for $200 or $300. At that time, I will be expecting a price of $100,000. If I can buy another 400,000 coins, I will get 40 billion US dollars. What does that mean? What is the annual GDP of a small country? At that time, you can spend it however you want. Marry a wife. Come on, that agreement is a backdoor for you. With infinite longing for the future, Ma Hu said goodbye to the girls and went to sleep with Lin Ruyi. After all, I haven't slept for 2 days. Although I don't feel tired, I still need to rest. The most important thing is to be able to sleep with a beautiful woman in your arms. Ma Hu slept until the afternoon, and it can be said that he could both stay up and sleep.